able to get better basically the whole time that it has been, out. And I mean, it used to be that like if you had, say, and it's still the case. I'm not trying to say that it's not, but it used to be that like the best players were 50% win rate, and if you had 50% win rate, you were like insane. And now the best players are pushing like 80% on all the characters, and even higher potentially, which is just super cool to see. So I hope that when Slay the Spire 2 comes out, we will be losing a lot and being okay with that.
Oh. Looks like everyone's ready to go, by the way.
Okay, fantastic.
Should I post the seed?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. We're starting. Is everyone excited? First category, it's Ironclad.
Ironclad time. How exciting.
All right, so I'm going to leave Baylor and Abzy to it. As you guys are going, if you want specific cameras to come up, just mention it, and I'll do my best to give you guys the cameras that you need. But yeah, we are gonna get going. So good luck, guys, and good luck to our players.
Good luck. Have fun to the players. Since we are using Discord to capture video, we might see a little bit of stuttering on the player feed sometimes, but we should be able to see by and large what they're doing and what the game state is. But welcome to my co-commentator here, Abzy. Hello and welcome.
Hello, hello. Let's get started. We've seen some interesting Niaos here. What are your first thoughts upon jumping in here?
Let's see. What are my thoughts on what would I pick on this Niao screen? That's a pretty tough one. Usually the lose 7 max health to start is always good, although remove 2 can be a little tricky on Clad if your Act 1 isn't like really set up for you well, if there's not really good card rewards or something.
Yeah, would you say remove 2 is maybe getting a little trendier these days? I feel like we've seen some advancements that kind of lean towards smaller decks.
There's a lot of strength to removing 2 from your deck right away. It's a really nice. JMac apparently restarting here. Interesting. It's a really nice way to get started. I find. Looks like Terrence goes for a transform into
Ascension 0.
Oh, I see. Yes, that's definitely cheating if you play on Ascension 0. Goal here is to play on A20, which we should discuss the format in brief, actually. Really important here as we get started. Like, what are these players trying to do? They're all playing on the same seed as the Ironclad, but why? Why are they here? Abzy?
Well. It's why are they here? They're all playing the same seed. They'll be seeing the same challenges, and we're doing so to make sure that everyone has a challenge, because of how optimized the game is. There's a chance that on random seed, it could end up just being a free seed for these guys. A lot of seeds are free seeds for these guys, honestly. So it's like
I think a lot of seeds are free for Clad in general. Clad's kind of he's a Chad, and that tends to lead to 1 runs. He can just tank damage with max health and the healing of the starting relic. He's got really strong cards that can totally transform a run, like Corruption, and can really high roll on relics in such a way that he spirals out of control very quickly.
Yeah, I believe it was Zaknar who said that like 80% of Clad runs are like free, but those like super hard seeds are the ones that are really tough to squeeze value out of and sort of stumble your way to the finish line.
Yes, stumbling your way to the finish line is definitely something I'm starting to learn the art of on Clad. Or at the very least, like stumbling until I find something broken to exploit.
Yeah, it puts a lot more pressure on your micro, especially in Act 3 and Act 4. That's sort of my blind spots, is my Act 4 micro.
Yes, those fights are so crucial to get properly configured, like to order them correctly.
So did we see all the Niaos get placed? I see we got some card count differences.
So I saw Terrence transformed something into an Anger, presumably a Strike. Looks like JMax going for remove 2 for the max health. That's the one I probably would lean towards here. Although again, I feel like that can lower more. And notably removing 2 strikes, which I think is brave to do on a seed that you know is supposed to be hard. But maybe because you know it's hard, you want to remove strikes more? What do you think? Yeah. Do you think the players are going to adjust their play based on the perceived hardness of what they're being asked to do?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think in particular, there's a bit more control that the seed has over the early acts So I have a suspicion that Act 1 might sort of bias a bit harder, which would speak against the Remove 2, which is a more of a late game sort of pick, and also can be a bit tricky into Hexa. And also, like, I think people underestimate the like the floor 6 sentries. That's like the elite of my nightmares when I'm starting a Clad run. So we'll see if we run into that. Yeah, we're seeing a big shop here. From,
There's so many nice things to buy in this shop.
Panacea here. That's practice. That's Panacea. Your move 2 into Flash and first shop is like kind of funny. But we'll see. There's a rage here. That's looking pretty hot. Looks like JMax going to the same sort of route to this floor 2 shop here. Maybe they'll take the same thing. Maybe they won't.
Well, that's one of the biggest questions with regards to when you put top players into the same Spire seed. Like, how much do they make the same choices and how much do they not? It's such a fascinating thing to see play out. Even from floor 1 with the Niao, we see big differences here. But my real question is, are we going to have wildly different outcomes in match and keep? If different players get the match and keep, are they going to get wildly different outcomes? That's what I want to know. There's an Exhume and a Metallicize in Terrance's one here. Looks like he got a second Bash, by the way, actually. That's huge. Or, well, bad, right? You don't usually want 2 copies of Bash in your deck as Clad, do you? So I wouldn't call that a good start, but I wonder if it's going to help. But yeah, there's definitely 2 Bashes with Terrance here. It's not my idea of a good time.
Yeah, and so one thing I should mention is we're doing 3-hour runs. It's like a soft cap. Could maybe end up being 3.5. Well, who knows?
Yeah.
But so there'll be some pressure. I know in a hard seed for myself, my ass would feel a bit of pressure trying to do that in 3.5 hours. Maybe I'm a slow player, but that could also. What do you think the implications are in the time limit on this?
I think it's a reasonably generous time limit. Like, you can take your time somewhat and have a 2-hour run in Spire, but 3 hours definitely gives you enough time to like really think about some of the hard choices, like your card ordering in a boss fight, or exactly which card to take at a important shop or something like that. So I think we're going to see some of the players like run down the clock and do some deep consideration when they find a really tough obstacle. I know Panacea is really familiar with a fast pace of play. Terrance is more known for going slower, so I think it could be more of an issue for Terrance. JMac I'm not familiar with enough to know how comfortable JMac is going fast or slow.
Yeah, JMac is a player that I've seen him take some pretty ambitious Act 1s. He's pretty modest on the card picks. He tries to keep things really curated, and that's sort of historically pushed him to have to be really careful about his Act 1 micro. So, but he's very, very thorough and talented with that. Hopefully that won't run into any time issues.
Panacea thinking about a Dark Embrace here. It's quite a card selection screen. Pummel versus Dark Embrace versus Rampage.
Early Dark Embrace. That's a polarizing take. A lot of Clad players got different opinions. I believe you're a early Dark Embrace kind of guy, right, Baylor?
I am indeed, yes. I know it's not always appropriate, but it's almost always a card that pays off in the late game. And Clad is allowed to greet it. Actually, Panacea goes with the Rampage, by the way.
That's huge. Do you think that has to do with it being set seed? Does he assume he's not going to find Hexa scaling because it's a hard seed?
I think he's looking at the fight coming up right next floor and thinking that Lagavulin is really spooky. That's got to be it for me. That's why I would take Rampage. And it looks like that is indeed the first elite that you'll face, is Lagavulin, as Terrance goes into that exact same floor.
I bet that was the bait, wasn't it? The remove 2 into Flash into Laga. Like, I'm sure they planned that,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Rampage is also a fair bit better with the remove 2. And having remove 2 strikes, Lagavulin is that much more deadly. So I really think that Rampage is an anti-Lagavulin tech that Panacea picked up. Even skipping double strike with Vulnerable there to get the Rampage down with an upgrade from Armaments. Same choice for JMac. Do you take Dark Embrace? Do you take Pummel? Or do you take Rampage? What a choice.
And having this Arma does make the Laga matchup a lot better.
Yeah, I really like that you can greet Dark Embrace because of sentries, but now knowing that Lagavulin is the next elite, I cannot possibly condone taking Dark Embrace here, even though my heart hurts to say it. I think Rampage is the correct pick to not lose tons of health here. Although Terrence did not, Terrence has an Anger, so Terrence doesn't, and a Pommel Strike, so Terrence does not need a filthy Rampage.
Yep, so we're looking neck and neck floor-wise. Everyone's on floor 6, 7. Everyone's on pace.
Yeah, I like this early synchronicity here. Everybody's at the exact same part of the game. I wonder, usually you don't see that stick for too long, especially if players are pacing themselves. Gotta say that Rampage is really tearing the Lagavulin to shreds, at least. But yeah, everybody is here carefully considering their striking versus defending. Pretty difficult elite overall. So,
yeah, you basically have to let your draw pile kind of predict which cycle you're going to be killing on. Like, hopefully you want to kill before the first hit after the next debuff. It's typically how it goes.
yes, yeah.
Push what you
It's
can.
a carefully calculated choice to get a kill before a certain threshold of getting attacked again when you're unable to defend.
See, it makes it in one piece. And we got 41 health. We got a distilled. Ooh, and we got the shovel. That makes for a fun seed.
Shovel first relic, of course. Of course.
Yeah, after the
Not-
armaments too. Yeah, that's gonna see some action for sure.
Not a
One of the
relic you want to
shovels.
see first, because it's what you want right at the start of the game, of course, is value. You want a relic that provides block or block or damage so that your fights are easier. But the shovel only gives you a new option, which is to, instead of upgrading, to dig for a relic. And right at the very beginning of the game, when you have no upgrades, it's really hard to justify giving that up. Right? The upgrade is usually more valuable, I think, than a random relic at the very beginning of a run. It's certainly more guaranteed value. And when you have to survive like the worst possible outcome, considerations for a next combat, then the shovel really isn't adding a whole lot of guarantee to your situation. It's pretty tough.
It's definitely not one of those things that you want to see. Whether when you do see it, whether you try to make lemons out of lemonade, players got pretty different sort of takes on it. There's some arguments sort of in favor of doing early digs and sort of the relics that get more power the longer you have them, things like question card. But also what people don't really think about often is like getting that early relic intel, where it's like even you have some upgrade debt of stuff you want to upgrade. Sometimes it can be good to see a relic just so you have some sort of foresight and sort of things to build around and sort of to assess your sort of power curve on this run.
Yeah, and shovel's not really something you can build around, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Terrence, as we get into the new elite combat here, Terrence is rolling up to the 3 sentries and kind of draws his deck upside down here. All the very best cards are at the very bottom. And this could be a really tough situation for Terrence here, actually.
Yeah, let's get a Terrence cam or like a multicam. That'd be nice.
Yeah, we're zoomed on Terrence at the moment, looks like.
Yeah, awesome. We're in the right place.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right though. Those early digs could they can be polarizing because they can't just be entirely empty, and you do need early power. It's absolutely true. Yeah, Terrence on the big screen.
Yeah. So what I was about to say actually is that Gremlin Knob, notably absent here from the first 2 elite combats, often something that we think of as like the hard Spire Elite in Act 1, but especially for Ironclad in particular, I don't think that's always the worst matchup for Ironclad. Ironclad has an attack-heavy starting deck and an attack-heavy pool, so he can generally answer the knob. Even when he can't, he can tank through it. But the sentries present a more persistent threat in that they can dilute Clad's draws to the point where he can't accomplish anything. And so he could be taking a ton of damage in this fight for Terrence.
Yeah, luckily Terrence is controlling the reshuffle super well, getting those angers all in the pile before he's even sending the second win for nothing, just to make sure.
Yeah, that's an important one on the redraw,
that's
definitely.
Yeah, I do think sentries can be scarier to encounter. I think it's the scariest to encounter like early on in an Act 1. I think once you get to like mid-late Act 1, it sort of equalizes a little more. J-Mac catching up, got his floor 6 down, got the shovel, got the distilled. Looking at a big P-Strike versus a second win to a Hexact. Pretty sweet.
Yeah, it looks like Terrence went with the second win, which I do respect. It's especially with the Pommel Strike and Anger. It's a really nice add.
Some draw. Oh, yeah. Checking the map here. We're seeing 3 elites on the horizon. He wants that.
Curious how the
We're back up
Rampage
on
is going to match up.
Terrence.
Oh, sorry.
Look at this next draw here. Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Wait,
Yeah, Terrence is... this is what I was just saying, actually. These sentries are a huge threat here. Although with 2 potions, 2 healing potions in the belt, Terrence should be able to continue tanking damage for a while. But even so, the sheer loss of health is really threatening here. Does manage to vanquish them with 9 health left, and both potions, and a potion belt, actually, to hold on to those. We call this perfect potion preservation, I think. That's a good thing to be doing.
Oh, yeah. Potion Belt, it's a good late game relic. This Act 1's been going well for these 3 players so far. We did kind of hear some hints that, you know, people are going to make it to the boss, but maybe Act 2 is where things are going to get nasty. Who knows? That is generally a pretty scary act every game. Especially if we here's what the boss relics will be, because that's one of the things that they can consistently control. So we'll see if they use that control for good or evil. Those seed choosers.
Yeah, so Merle, I believe, was the one who hand-selected most of the seeds and confided in me that a little bit of the selection process which was that he looked at aggregate run data from high-level players and then looked at losing runs and then started kind of just like hand-filtering from there. So all of the seeds that we're seeing today, both for the Ironclad and the Silent and the Defect, all of these seeds have personally vanquished a high-level player already. Possibly even me. I'm not sure who exactly whose run data was used to filter for the losses here, but guaranteed somebody good played the video game and lost on these seeds. So they are tricky.
Ooh, yeah, these seeds got a pedigree. Will they take another victim today? We'll see.
And that run data was, I believe, shared through Terrence MHS's Discord. So Terrence provided the aggregate data.
Yeah, shout out Terrence.
Yeah, shout out to Terrence. Runs a very cool Discord. Used to have a website with like Spire Streak tracking and things like that.
Who would you say is in the lead so far? Do you have how are you placing your bets, Baylord and chat?
Let's see. So who of these players is in the best position? I think Terrence is in the best position with the Anger transform, honestly. I think that Anger is really serving well into Act 1. He's got 2 healing potions in the belt, where the other players, not so much.
Anger's still a solid card. Anger into Hexaghost. Anger stocks have been a little low lately, but that's only relative to how it used to kind of be glazed. But what are your kind of current takes on the development of like how you see Anger right now, basically?
I think it's a card that scales well with... Wait, takes a Clash? What? Am I taking crazy pills? You all see that? Terrence MHS just clicked on the Clash card and added it to his deck willingly. What?
I guess the trick is to avoid bad seeds, just to do some crazy stuff, keep the seed on its toes, you know? Maybe some hardcore metagaming.
One Pun Man says, I don't understand the double bash Clash meta. I clearly don't. Yeah, I don't know. I did forget about the second bash, by the way. I forgot about it entirely. But yeah, I don't understand the play.
Clash is going to play into Hexa, into this Laga here. That's one thing it's famous for.
That's true. It can be a good card. It's notoriously, I guess there is a second win, right? I was just thinking it's not very reliable into Hexaghost, right? That is a concern. But we did just play the Clash for Terrence, so you know, there is that.
I would say the card does get a bit overhated sometimes because it is like sometimes you just got to remember to just look at the number on it, you know? And
it does have a big number.
Yeah, you don't expect it to last the whole run, but it can kind of get you through and maybe stop you from clicking a couple smaller numbers that will trash up your deck in late game.
See, Terrence and Panacea both in the same fight right now.
Looks like JMax draw order isn't that good into Sentries here. Oh, we got the clutch defend plus though.
Panacea now down to 10 HP, taking a big wall up from the Lega here. Looks like they're able to kill in the next turn though. We see the Lega draw is going to drop an Anchor and a Regen Potion, Offering, and Limit Break. Now there's some cards for you. Terrence, meanwhile, having to drink one of those healing potions just to stay alive. Also tanking a big hit from the Lagavulin. Yeah, taking 15 here. Thinking about maybe taking 20, but Clash, our savior, is here to allow us to play defend on this turn. Excellent job, Clash.
Got your back when you're struggling. Happy to see the big offering with the armaments.
Oh yeah, still sees the offering. No limit break though. Interesting. That's kind of fun. Difference in card rewards.
That's 3 events into that next elite here.
Terrence, with Double Bash, Offering, and Clash, I think Terrence is now unstoppable.
There's no way Terrence is going for that elite on 11, even with the Blood Pot. What do you think? Is there elite you're scared of in Terrence's position?
Double Potions? And plenty of time to prepare. Well, I'm actually more scared of the event rooms, I think. Terrence goes for the combat here. Ends up in a 5 slime fight. Which is definitely tricky looking. But with second wind in hand, do you play the offering? Or maybe just second wind it away. Kind of a tough call. Something
Either
Terrence...
pay the 6 and get out, or polarizing. He tries to save the 2, yeah.
Yeah. Something to keep in mind for this fight, if Terrence were to use the Distilled Chaos, he would want to make sure that he has no attacks in hand, but no non-attacks, in hand, so that the Distilled Chaos is allowed to play Clash. Because otherwise, it will be invalid as a play. Can also just draw into the Clash, I guess. Yeah, Clash our saviors here.
Yeah, it's a hallway monster. Even though you'd think like, oh, you know, it's kind of sketchy on first cycle, and in these short fights, like sometimes it just bricks with the Bane, but I don't know. Some Clash hallways can be pretty good.
Yeah, and to elaborate more on what you asked about pathing earlier, actually, here with a potion belt that you want to fill up, and with Lantern and Anchor to make your turn ones consistently good, I think hallway fights are the clear winner here. You want to farm, as they say, as Clad. Maybe you even get some health if you do it well. But just accumulate potions, find better cards, get some money, and get stronger, guaranteed, rather than risking events here.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, and 50% potion chance with Terrence here, so we'll see if we get some good drops.
Terrence gets offered a
clothesline.
Carnage. The Carnage.
Yeah, I could see a big attack for Act 2. Especially two fires on the horizon. Get a nice upgrade for that thing. Panacea Vision. We're thinking about this shop or no? I guess it's a matter of how he feels in his Hexa. It looks like he could use a little more cushion, a little comfort.
I'd be thinking about buying that Entropic Brew here. With an empty potion belt, that's a pretty strong purchase.
Sweet find, yeah. Like Entropic, like a striker move to go with the second win, maybe. If
I like the deck that Panacea is creating here. We've got Evolve and Second Win and Rampage as our Hexaghost answer at the moment. There's also Fire Breathing on sale, which could be some weird idea. Though I personally wouldn't be clicking on it. Chanting for the Shard, as you might expect. I don't
You think he's
that's...
slated to go potionless into this Hexaghost? Panacea? Like playing without popping a potion?
Like to drink it right away, or try to preserve it?
Like I'm just wondering if this fire breathing just basically earns you a potion into Act 2.
With the Second Wind, I don't even know if it's that much damage, because you're not going to redraw the burns, probably. I'm not convinced I would want to add it here.
Yeah, that's super true, yeah.
But I'm also a Fire Breathing hater, so I'm not likely to pick it up usually. Aha, I knew it. I called it. Called my shot. Entropic Brew, bot.
Perfect gold, it must be good.
And ditches a strike, too, of course. But do they dig? That is the important question. They do.
Yes,
They get a tungsten rod.
Wow.
Okay, cool. Diggers do prosper. And now the offering looking a lot better as well.
Exactly.
So that's a major point of divergence that we could see here is do we see the players dig up relics or not? So does a key relic appear earlier or later for a given player, causing them to make different choices during their game?
Yeah, and just to give a bit of background on that, each relic rarity goes through a relic queue. So if the rod was the next rare relic, then the next rare relic that anyone else sees probably be tungsten rod as well.
Yeah.
Not counting shops, of course, because those pull from the back of the queue.
Yeah, there are a few exceptions.
There any other that come to mind? I'm curious.
For example, if you have Black Star, then you get an additional relic that is normally of a random rarity, but it also has an additional qualifier on it, which is that the additional relic from Black Star cannot be the shovel, the peace pipe, or the Gurya. How gets another offering? Oh no, that's JMac picking up the first offering. Excuse me. But yeah, so that could mean that if the next rare relic had been something that was excluded, then it can cause a divergence. Another easy example is like Bottled Tornado, where if you don't have a power to bottle, then the Bottled Tornado will not spawn. So one player could see a totally different uncommon relic than another because the next relic in the list was the Tornado.
Yeah.
Papa says can also happen with relics that don't show up in shops. Yes, Maw Bank getting discarded. Basically, if a relic is disqualified in a given situation for any reason, then that can create a divergence. The biggest notable difference for this in competitive runs, although nobody took this option here, and this might happen for Defect especially, if somebody boss swaps, then you disqualify the upgraded starter relic from the boss relic pool because you no longer have a starter relic to trade in to get it. And so that can cause a divergence in the boss relics that are seen during the run. If, like, Frozen Core, for example, was going to be one of the 3 boss relics after the Act 1 boss, and a Defect boss swaps, then they'll see a different relic instead.
True that. How do you feel about Terrance's pace in this Hexaghost fight here? Looks like we're on turn. I believe this is like turn 3, right? The no green flames.
Turn 3. That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a big chunk of Hexaghost health
Actually
out.
missed that Terrence beat everybody else to the Act 1 boss here. Although it looks like Panacea also just starting the Hexaghost fight as well. With a clothesline on turn 1. Terrence notably does not have the tungsten rod for this fight, whereas Panacea does.
Yeah, and on top of that, Terrence, I mean, he's ahead on damage here, but a few bad draws. Ooh, here's a bad draw. I think it forces a potion here.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yep. But with
Yeah.
2 potions plus an Entropic Brew in the belt, Terrence seems pretty inclined to spend at least one of these. Let's see, Panacea. So yeah, 2 players bought the Entropic Brew. Smart of them. Panacea is just clowning on Hexaghost here. Holy moly. What is happening?
Yeah, another thing about fighting Hexa at low health is, I believe it was Opum. It was one pun man who kind of told me this the other day. He made me realize how little I underrate the 18 attack that's before the big 36 on turn 7.
Oh yeah,
Like
the
a
9x2.
turn 3
Yeah,
deal
that can
18
that
is
can
massive.
if you don't have enough health to buffer it, that can absolutely do you in. My rule of thumb is you need like 30-ish health to make it to the Inferno consistently to survive the Divider on turn 2, followed by the 6x2 multi-attack, followed by the 9x2 multi-hit, plus whatever incremental burn damage or regular attack damage that you might take. But you can actually take a lot more than that. I once had like 50 damage dealt to me on Clad in the first 7 turns of that fight, and I just died.
Glad you have that heuristic, because Hexaghost is something that I'm famously awful at trying to evaluate. It can be pretty abstract, especially with different draw orders and things. And oh man, one thing missing the reshuffle can be enough to be deadly a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, missing the reshuffle is definitely tough. Looks like Terrence does make it past the Ghost here, being offered some pretty good cards here.
Sell some scaling.
Double Offering, Double Bash, Clash, Double Second Wind. It's going to be the perfect deck. Just any moment
Sure,
now.
he's salivating over the second offering, but maybe he could be worried about getting cladded, like not finding scaling. Or maybe you could say, hell, with the 2 offerings, that second wind exhausting, those second winds exhausting down, that's a good form of scaling in itself. And this Fiendfire, too.
Honestly, I
Some good
I
call.
wasn't
Good
watching
follow.
the individual fight too closely, but I think the Double Bash genuinely helped with that Hexa fight, lining up with the Carnage and the Clash.
In particular, yeah, that makes sense.
Panacea, meanwhile, has the biggest second wind of all time and is rampaging all over the Hexaghost. It's kind of embarrassing here.
And you definitely want your bash to land and still not lose the Carnage. Got to play the Carnage when you see it, so you need that extra bash for backup.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, it's strats. Boss Relic picks for Terrence and for everyone is going to be Key versus Crown versus Calling Bell. That's a pretty tough choice, actually. I find Key is, especially at the end of Act 1, is deceptively tough. It seems kind of like it's free, but it's not free. It is absolutely not free, the Curse Key. And so it can be a really tough time having those, you're behind by 1 guaranteed curse if you don't have the blue key yet, and then you're giving up 1 or more relics as well, because you're either skipping a chest or you're getting another curse, and then if you find any random chests, then oh boy, it's even worse.
Yeah, he'll be immediately strong into this Act 2, but yeah, oh man, losing card draw for Act 4, that could be deadly. It could certainly add up. It does look a little bit attractive though, this Curse Key though.
Is
What a-
anyone in a position
really-
to take this crown?
No shot. You need defensive scaling to take a crown.
But Well, Panacea has Rampage and Tungsten Rod. Is that
Yeah,
not
yeah, the
enough?
rod.
Surely that's enough.
Really interesting. Couldn't have imagined.
No.
We-
I kid. Looks like Terrence does go with the Curse Key, of course. I think that's the reasonable pick
Dumbass.
compared to Crown.
How's this map looking? How many elites? We got an early shop. We got 3 elites, 2, 3. It's 2 with an early burning. It's looking pretty hot into these hallways.
Yeah, I find you really have to keep up the pace in Act 2 and keep getting elite fights. Those Act 2 elites can be really tough, but you can't shy away from them. If you're looking to conquer A20 hard, you cannot shy away from the Act 2 elites and just kind of skip them. In order to get strong enough, you have to take them head on. And it looks like, well, you kind of have to, given the map. Everyone's going to get the same Act 2 map, which means everyone is fighting an early Act 2 elite, whether they like it or not. But I think they should be liking it. Panacea living with by the virtue of Tungsten Rod here, by the way. Drinking a regen potion just to stay alive.
Huge.
But does
yeah,
get
let
a
me
new
see these
potion.
boss relics. Yeah. Big screen.
Sees different cards than
Ooh.
Terrence did. Gets offered a feed and an impervious. Interesting. But what about double tap Rampage? Nope, takes the feed.
Just put him in a different position with his boss relics? I don't know. It still kind of just looks like a key to me.
So
Especially
cool.
since he's got a big buffer into Act 4 with his health if he makes it there, basically. So losing draw is gonna be less polarizing in the heart.
So chat's a little bit confused by the run divergence on my end here. Can we touch on like what makes the players see different things than each other in a Spire run? So far, everyone has the same relics. The boss relics are set in stone; those cannot be changed except by swapping, as I mentioned. But what about
Cards are
card
kind of the
rewards?
most polarizing thing, yeah. Because taking elites at a different sort of pace means, you know, because they roll like different chances for rarities and things. So that's kind of the main way that things will go off.
Oh yeah,
course.
that's a great example actually. So behind the scenes in Spire, you've got what's called a rare offset. So you have basically the game is counting whenever you see a common card, and it adds to your rarity chance. The more common cards you see, the higher your chance is to find a rare card or an uncommon card, and then that resets when you ever find a rare card. So, as you say, yeah, but fighting an elite gives you a baseline boost to your chance to find a rare card. So if you fight an elite earlier or later than another player, then you may see a rare card earlier or later than another player, which means your rarity chance for the next combat can be different, and that's going to cause you to see all sorts of different cards. And essentially, once your card rewards are desynchronized, that's going to keep going. So even though everyone fights the same boss on the same floor, they don't see the same cards from the boss.
Yeah, and shops. That's another thing that just nukes the card awards.
Yes,
If
speaking
you see
of.
shop at a different time, yeah.
Terrence here looking at Prismatic Shard in an Act 2 shop with the double bash, double offering, double second win build. Now a double strike build as well by virtue of removing one strike.
Yeah, even if you desync in Act 1, the card seeding stuff all resets for Act 2, so they should still start out back the same, and I'm sure they'll quickly divert again.
Yeah, relics are more in tune with each other. We touched on this briefly. I think the easiest way to visualize this is to think of the relics in the Spire as decks in a card. Each of the rarities of relic, that is common, uncommon, and rare, are sorted into piles of cards, and when the game asks for a relic of that appropriate rarity, you take the top card of that rarity, and that's the relic that you find. When a player goes to a shop, they instead take the card off the bottom of the deck, so you're not going to see the same relics in shops that you would see otherwise.
Yeah, and of course they'll only resync the cards once they all get into Act 2. We see a JMac trailing a bit behind, still in Act 1. We are just over half hour into this run here. Do you think he's on pace to finish in this 3.5 hour sort of rough time limit?
I think so. Yeah, I think, especially on Clad, I think it can be more valuable to spend more time early. So I think it's quite possible for this character to speed up as they go along. If they eventually assemble something really strong, it can become very simple to play.
Yeah, and I guess that's sort of what I predicted. Yeah, JMac being very, very deliberate. Did I see him choose was that Pommel over Feel No Pain? It was. I'm sure Feel No Pain really tempted him, but I guess he's feeling a little threatened by this Hexa Ghost, or perhaps even Act 2. Which, like, honestly, I don't know, that Feel No Pain, I don't know, maybe it's kind of hitting into Act 2. I don't think it's that bad.
I like Feel No Pain a lot, especially with Second Wind and Offering and Carnage in the deck. I would love a Feel No Pain, but if I did feel immediately threatened by the boss, then that would be a good reason to skip the card.
Feel No Pain, to me, it's just the card that wins games. There's only so many ways that you could sort of scale, like block scaling into late game. Like I would dump my pots for that to be, if I had to, if it comes down to it. But yeah, I'm one of those.
Yeah,
true
that's a
vanilla
choice that can be
players.
really tricky actually in this game. Is like, do you enter Act 2 with more potions, or do you enter Act 2 with different cards that you think are better suited for the act, and use those potions to survive short term? Wait, Terrence just ran into Knowing Skull. Hold on.
I
And
love
has a full potion belt and lots of health. What does Terrence do at the Knowing Skull with shops ahead of him? Says,
Just have
I'm
to
out.
quickly interject here. If Terrence doesn't click colorless until he's almost dead, is he really playing the game?
He has already skipped it,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Boo him, Chad.
Okay.
Boo.
Boo.
Yeah, I mean, I think in JMac's position, with the two offerings and the anchor, Lantern or Turnwood, he was looking kind of hot into those hallways. Like I'd want to secure some late game sort of thing. But I guess you could say that just having a potion belt, man, oh man, does that ever speak for late game? Especially you can carry one of these like a distilled or something. Like,
Oh yeah, one good
into Act 4, like-
potion carried all the way to the end. A dupe pot to duplicate a key scaling card, like a limit break or an entrench, can make all the difference in the hard fight. Yeah, one dupe pot can be the difference between a very difficult fight and a completely free one. And Terrence is
This
sitting
J-Mac
rich here
is,
with 4 very good potions in the potion belt.
on top of the world.
Ideally,
He's
even
not
like
even going to take the 6.
it's a mix of potions you feel okay using right away and potions that are good for later. The liquid memory is good for the late game. The fire pot and the entropic or the distilled chaos, good for right now.
Do you think he was ahead enough to skip that offering here? How do you feel about this chosen fight here? Interesting seeing him burst down the chosen first. Tungsten rod is kind of nice with the
Yeah, he
the bird.
definitely has
That's
the
pretty sweet.
damage. Chosen's just cooked. That
Oh,
carnage,
yeah.
the double bash carnage tech is too strong for Terrence here, and has cooked the chosen easily.
Man, oh
And there was
man,
always
does
the
he know
fire
his
pot
limits?
if a little
Yeah.
bit more was needed.
Yeah, honestly, like potting for 6 with full slots and 40%, like, sheesh, I'll try to skip that offering. If I lose a potion, it's not the end of the world.
I think keeping the deck slim is definitely a key skill here. That some exercise has to be, some restraint has to be exercised, is what I meant to say, to avoid too much bloat. Yeah, double bash carnage actually feeling pretty good on 4 energy, right? Okay, Terrence digs up the tungsten rod. Hilarious.
Sweet.
JMac facing down. Actually, I guess I'll do multi-feed here, because we got lots of tough fights here. Terrence walking into triple slavers as JMac continues to face down the Hexaghost.
Yep.
I'm
think
impressed we've
Terrence gonna
seen 2
pop a
separate
pot
players
here.
dig here.
Yeah, armaments in deck. Makes sense. Is that Terrence having a potless lethal on right? Holy moly.
Again, the double bash. If you
Yeah.
have 2 bashes, then one of them is always on top.
Vulnerable's not that bad. I mean, people kind of came around to receiving some more thunderclaps these days.
By the way, I
Oh,
just want to
that's
give a
not
quick shout out to Solo Wing SC2 for rating Merle's channel here, the official Merlathon bonus day. Welcome everybody.
Oh, yeah, you're in for a treat here. We got a big event here. We're halfway through, almost halfway through this run here. We're halfway through Act 2. This is set seed. It's a brutal seed. We'll see if there's any big upsets. Are you guys excited? We're doing Blue Slaver first. That's kind of neat on Terrence's feed here.
Oh yeah, you don't see that too often. Blue Slaver first.
Threatened by Vol. I wonder what's in the booty pile for this headbutt here. There's a lot of big horizon of choice here. maybe see a Carnage lethal.
Yeah, Headbutt has a lot of value with a big card like Carnage too.
Runderstein in chat pointing out JMac is in a bit of a tough spot with Hexa at the moment.
Definitely, yeah. Thinking hard about the incoming 9x2. We were just talking about that.
Much further behind on damage here. I guess we ain't seen no Rampage here. He got a big Carnage, but man, oh man, how did you think it ended up like this?
It's not going to be enough.
Was this predictable, or do you think he like low rolled like reshuffles or something?
Well, it looks like we're shuffling out Carnage here. I don't know if this is the only time that happened in this fight or not, but it does come at a very inconvenient time.
Yeah.
Such that it looks like a potion will be sufficient to bail out here, right? Either the regen potion can tank the incoming damage, or the Distilled Chaos can guaranteed play the Carnage right now. No matter the draw order, because one of the cards is a Flash of Steel, even if it's bottom deck Carnage, then playing the Distilled Chaos right now ensures that the Carnage gets played. So that's another option to win the fight here.
And it gets in the reshuffle. That's huge too. Just how brave does he feel versus how brave does he feel into Act 2, really? It's braver either way, I suppose.
I think they might be looking for a way to do this without using the potion, and that'd be a very clever thing to do if possible. Terrence, meanwhile, crushing the Slavers finally, picks up Dreamcatcher. Not exactly inspiring, but the Shockwave is pretty good. Shockwave widely considered to be a good card.
Just that card plays the game. It just plays through the game front to back. You know, it's.
Ooh. And then finds the library, which has Exhume, Dark Embrace, Feel No Pain, Bludgeon. Lots of good cards here.
Chance for a Feel No Pain. Ooh. It stands out to you here.
With double second wind, I'd have a hard pressed not to take Dark Embrace here on 4 energy with good potions. Yeah, I'd be taking Dark Embrace with offering double second wind. But Clash, but think of the Clash.
Clash. So I'm guessing. So would you say like the Feel No Pain plays better into this Act 2, but the Dark Embrace is the more of like the Act 4 sort of pick?
I'm not even. I guess the Feel No Pain being cheaper is pretty crucial. The Dark Embrace is pretty immediate payoff because it lets you draw into the second winds and have them. Yeah, he goes Dark Embrace. You can draw into the second winds and have them be bigger right away, which is very important. So the Dark Embrace is generating block indirectly by getting you more cards in hand for second wind.
Yeah. Maybe the double second wind is going to come down on the same
turn. Opens the treasure chest, gets a normality. With double second wind, I can see why I wasn't afraid of the curse too much. And with Tungsten Rod, right? Like, pain is no problem at all. But normality is less than ideal when you cannot get rid of it right away. It does take the blue key, of course. Probably going to be going to that shop to remove normality, but might take an elite, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, JMac makes a lot of sense.
So. Did decline to play the Distilled Chaos. Has drawn decently well into Hexa here. I think probably gets away with actually not having to potion, ultimately. Taking 3 more, going to 5 health. And then I think you just bash second wind, guaranteed kill. Oh, no, just instantly kill. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So all 3 players have finally defeated the Hexaghost. Again, a different set of cards for JMac. This time, Impervious, Limit Break, Demon Form. Demon Form looking actually decent here.
Yeah, I could use some scaling. Damn, sounds great. Where do I sign up?
Did we see who the Act 2 boss is?
Did you catch it, chat?
It's Automaton.
It's Automaton, okay. Oh, and let's see, who was that? Terrence just ran into the Forsaken Altar event in Act 2. Although with high health, that's not too much of a problem. Problem is that Terrence already does have a curse. So the choice is either give up a bunch of health or get a second curse.
Rod value. Holy moly.
That's true. The rod does reduce the damage the altar does by 1 there. So it's actually 50 out of 80. It's not even that bad. Seems like 5 max health, if you ask me.
Yeah. You got the
Incentive-
Dreamcatcher too.
Yeah,
so-
I was going to say incentive to use the Dreamcatcher. Exactly. Exactly.
He's looking at that elite. He's looking at normality. He's like, ooh, maybe some draw orders. Yeah, like doing like an offering into like normality in like a weird way could be kind of a little spooky.
So we were talking about Relic Divergence earlier, actually. Here we've seen some more Relic Divergence, which is that Panacea has taken the Ancient Tea Set, which Terrence MHS took the blue key instead. As I think Panacea found it at a different spot or something like that. It wasn't up against blue key. So they have different relics now.
Terrence is very poor.
Oh man, impoverished.
Terrence sad about the shop. Yeah, Battle Trance, Reaper, Feed, Trip. Now, who needs Trip when you have Double Bash? Not Terrence.
He's not really considering a striker move, is he? I sure hope not.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a choice. You know, Strike is not exhausted by Second Wind, but Normality is, so Striker move could easily be the play here.
It does open some low rolls, I think, with normality orders.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, if you offering into Normality, you're just kind of hosed.
Yeah.
So
It
you
feels
got to
a
be
little
real careful.
idealistic. Ooh, Taz striker move. Man, that's so cool. How do you feel about that?
Did actually remove the strike? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The gamer. Yeah, officially going the gamer choice.
I mean, that's why he's Terrence, you know?
Yeah, these are the kind of choices that separate good from great, potentially. Yeah. Definitely could backfire. I'm very curious how Terrence chooses to navigate the difficulty of having the normality still here. It's going to interfere with Clash at minimum. So again, the advantage here is that the normality is a target for Second Wind, whereas Strike is not a target for Second Wind. So the Strike is a more valuable remove under that criteria. It also does qualify Terrence for the Purifying Shrine event. That's true. An additional advantage is that added to the relic pool, or the event pool rather, is the possibility of remove all curses as an event. That's fun. Is that good?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. That effectively is one remove as an event, which is decent, but not amazing.
Marginal. It is a shrine event. It's pretty unlikely to... It's a way less than like normal events.
Oh yeah, very, very marginal advantage for sure.
Yeah, I would say it's a little
Let's see,
advantage.
what does Panacea do at the rest site? Looks like it was an upgrade, something I missed it actually. Also runs into Forsaken Altar. Has less health though, so and a much worse potion belt. Like if you compare Panacea right now and Terrence, they both have 4 potions, but Terrence's potion belt is way better.
Yeah, Panacea got that feed on him, so you know he could get value out of having HP in a lot of ways.
And yeah, Panacea at the rest site rested and Dreamcatchered into a Fiend Fire.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, I definitely missed that. Good catch.
Terrence also just grabbed Power Through.
Power through,
He's
double
power through
second
second
wind,
wind.
Dark Embrace. Now Terrence is really starting to assemble like
Yeah.
a really working strategy, a functional core deck that I can easily see winning the end game here.
Yep, 2-time champ. I'm calling it. Terrence gonna get the back-to-back. That'll be exciting.
That's right. Terrence did win the was tied for victory in the Merlathon event that spawned this one.
Yeah, because ties do happen. Because there's no like tiebreaker if you like finish quicker. You know, it's either you make it through or you don't. It's a pass or fail.
So Just touching question from my chat is who all the other voices are here. My co-commentator Abz32 is narrating the run with me, and we did also just briefly hear from Merle and Asuki, some of the background organizers for the Merlathon and just a general Spire community awesome people.
Absy here. Hello, chat. This Fiendfire is going to be huge for Panacea's deck. Once get some real card calling going on here.
Yeah,
He's got
Panacea has
what, a
also
mean
picked
loop?
up a Dark Embrace. So the Fiendfire even better.
Yeah. So is it too late to say? Is this I mean, you don't have to answer for the spoiler, Merle. But I'm curious how many of sort of the pitfalls you anticipated people coming into. How many of them kind of dodged it? Or like, what's going on under the surface here? What did you expect to happen?
Yeah, well, since the players are now playing the run and are obviously not listening to the stream, I can reveal that the original player of this seed died to Automaton. And essentially died to Automaton because they failed to find scaling. And
Yep.
that was sort of always going to be the pitfall of this run. Like if the players here were to die, it would be because they were not able to find either scaling for Hexaghost, which is interesting because all three of them did find scaling for Hexaghost in different ways. And I knew that there was plenty of scaling for Hexaghost, but maybe not super conventional Hexaghost scaling, which is why I thought that the beginning of this seed was interesting. And then for Automaton, you definitely need something, and it looks like Terrence and Panacea will get there with what they have found.
I
But
think
the person
Panacea
who
might be at risk
originally
of potentially not quite making it in the Automaton fight. Unless Rampage.
yeah, the Fiendfire, yeah, the Rampage. We'll see. That might be close as of right now, but we'll see. But yeah, essentially the original run just did not get as much value in Act 2 as like Terrence and Panacea have been able to get out of Act 2 so far. And
by,
died to Automaton.
This is like one of those, what do they call it, like the butterfly effect, where they just saw different cards sort of thing? Or do you think in the original seed it saw a lot of... Also, who was it, if you don't mind me asking? Who was the original?
The original player for this seed was Zeknar.
Took down the great Zeknar. I'm guessing one of his offline games. I believe these are never before seen on stream. These are exclusive seeds.
Looks like JMac just turned down Apparitions. Seems to be the only player building Body Slam at the moment. Body Slam Impervious for JMac, whereas the other players are doing like Second Wind, Dark Embrace things.
Apparitions Rod is good, but when you have that curse key, maybe your draw consistency can be weird into Act 4, and that's when losing that max HP can really ruin your day.
All right, Terrence rolls up to Bronze Automaton, deletes Normality on turn 1. Is there an offensive plan, though? That's my question. Terrence can easily block the Automaton for quite a while, but can Terrence actually kill the boss?
What kind of loop are we working with here with Terrence? I wish I could pull up his deck. Yeah, Draw Piles looks pretty good. Yeah, he's doing his Power Through Second Wind sort of loop here. Hyper Beam should be like aight.
Yeah, there is. You can use the deck list link if you want to see the decks.
Unfortunately, Terrence's isn't working for
Oh, I see.
mysterious reasons, but the other two at least.
Oh. I missed that link. Hold up.
It's pinned in chat.
Thanks.
Yeah, if all three of our chat asks if all three of our contestants prevail here, does that mean everyone is better than Zeknar?
I will say that I think that they have benefited tremendously from knowing that the seed is hard. Like this particular seed, I think that they've all three of them have made decisions that they might not normally make, because they knew that the seed was going to be difficult. And one of the major pitfalls for Ironclad is not being able to find scaling. And so if you know that it's an Ironclad seed that is supposed to be hard, I think that if it were me playing and I had no idea, I would probably go, okay, scaling is going to be at a premium and I need to take whatever I can get.
Definitely. Yeah, it's also entirely possible that these players do still fail to prevail.
Yes, it might not be an
Indeed,
organic
yeah.
approach and representation of their gameplay, but
It
you
is
know,
a cool
with,
showcase of skill, regardless.
yeah.
Yeah, Terrence, you're having a big think against Automaton. Very lot of cards in hand, so many options for what to do. And it's a very important fight. This fight, how the players navigate this fight, each of them independently, is going to make or break their runs, I think. Let's see, what's Panacea up to? Panacea facing a 16/3 from Gremlin Leader. Oof. Ouch.
Yeah.
Second win here to save the day, though, with Clothesline, too. Maybe a good time to Speed Potion, actually. Doesn't do that, though. Just, oh, they're going for the kill with Rampage, I see. Looking for feed lethal, even. And gets it.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
easy
barely
peasy.
gets it. Huge.
Exact feed lethal? Is that what I saw? Indeed.
Yep, W line.
Very nice. True Grit is a really important core piece that I think would be worth really considering here. Exhaust a targeted card. Goes for the Shrug Plus, which I completely respect. But I
Not a
think,
lot of attacks to
True Grit
exhaust.
into upgrade True Grit could have been really important there.
Like you'd be trying to get rid of for like the strike and like the clothesline, and for the bash too, probably eventually.
Yeah, just to get down to like a Flash of Steel, Shrug, Pommel Strike loop or something like that with the armaments.
Yeah. We do a Fiend Fire for some of the attacks to exhaust some of the attacks, rather. JMac doing the burning set.
Oh, goes for the Burning Elite.
Slavers, they're calling
Whoa,
it.
Strength Slavers. Yikes. And that's not a very exciting turn one hand either.
Yeah, it's like 9 more damage every
Wow.
turn.
Yeah, no, Strength
Pretty
Slavers are no
sure.
joke. It doesn't seem like the 3 Strength does a lot, but yeah, 9 damage per turn is a good way to think of it, and that really hurts in a fight where you're already under such immense pressure.
Yeah, I'm not like thrilled by this draw pile, to be honest. By this opening hand, I mean.
Okay, so Panacea just rolled into the Automaton fight. Yeah, exactly. Not a very good opening hand indeed. Guess I'll get triple feed up here. They're all doing important fights. Who do you focus on?
Akabeko Fiend Fire. Holy moly. On Panacea's joint.
I gotta say, mad respect actually to Merle for picking the seed. We've got all 3 players in pretty tough looking situations at the same time, which is really quite something. Goes for the fire pot kill. Okay, gets 1 Slaver, but still huge damage from the other 2. Takes 9.
Yeah, I'm definitely, at least so far, pretty happy with how this seed has turned out. I think even if all the players win from here, I think we will have accomplished our goal.
Yeah, I think so too. Like they got promising futures here, but they're still struggling to get over that finish line here. It's a great seed.
Yep. Terrence is
edge of
popping
mercy.
potions. Using explosive pot to just get just enough damage on the minions. Now looking at another huge hand of cards, deciding what to burn, what to keep, how to get Clash online properly.
Yeah, this sort of deliberacy in a boss fight is what really separates the good clad players from the rest.
Yeah, if you're going to slow down and take time in your run, a boss fight is a great, like, only for a little bit of your run, that is, a boss fight would be the right pick for where to put that additional effort. There's such important combats. Test of not only how did you construct your deck up to this point, but how can you pilot your deck to successfully defeat the particular opponent before you.
Yeah. Looks like JMac got through the worst of it here. I believe he's just determining who's to send the body slam on.
Yeah,
Obviously, you want to kill the front first to avoid weak, but man, is that overkill?
yeah. Since the
Gonna negate
impervious
some
full
of the
blocks, you might want to send the body slam into the rear here.
I don't think being
Nah.
weak is gonna.
Yeah, exactly.
much
I think the
overkill.
weaken is the difference maker. I agree.
The freaking weekend.
Freaking weekend. Oh, look at that draw pile. Yeah, we're just gonna take the 5 there for that offering. That's fair. We out of there.
Okay, JMac finally gets their own Dreamcatcher.
J-Mac's excited. He saw his wiggle there. He likes that shockwave. Who
Yeah,
wouldn't?
Shockwave, good card.
We need some strip
It's
into
like
Automaton. You know?
One of the highest pick
Helps to
rate
kill the
cards
babies.
for clad players, I feel like.
It's kind of looking at that fire versus combat here. Is he trying to roll for some potions or what? I mean, that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, sometimes fires are deceptively underwhelming nodes. You can get a lot. Like, you know, in a rest site, you can convert an unupgraded card into an upgraded card, but at a combat, you can just get a new upgraded card to add to your deck.
Yeah.
Oh, clicking the T set plus the lantern, the Giga Turn 1 energy build is online.
Yep, he didn't see it in his chest there, so it looks like he's gonna have to find blue key elsewhere. Unlike Terrence.
So yeah, and neither player's boss fight seeming like it's make or break just yet. Both bosses sitting pretty much full health.
You're loving the synchronization still between Panacea and Terrence. They've been connect.
Yeah, and very similar decks from both of them. Same kind of core idea happening. Second Wind, Dark Embrace.
Yeet.
Panacea's feed value on full display. Panacea's got, 106 max health, actually. It's pretty huge. And now a much better looking Fiendfire. What is this? Shrug into Rampage into Fiendfire? I think this Rampage might win the fight.
That's the 12x2. Which when's this Hyper Beam coming up? I guess it's probably what, like 4 more turns for Panacea.
2 more turns.
Oh my!
Next turn's buff turn, then
and,
Hyper Beam. It's coming. It's coming quick.
and the babies are still around. Oh man! Hope he gets a good draw next turn.
Yeah, as Chad is saying, if Second Wind, Dark Embrace, Feel No Pain doesn't do any damage, not without a body slam in the deck. And so, although the block engine's good, that's what I was talking about earlier. The damage engine is really not online for defeating an act boss here for either Terrence or Panacea. And so they're going to have to get creative if they want to beat the Bronze Automaton.
They got some pops in the pocket.
Worth noting that Terrence still has the Entropic Brew.
Yes, lots of preserved value. Terrence is now actually looking at the Hyper Beam, which is looking like it's really going to hurt. Unless there's a Second Wind in the immediate future here.
God, there is. Either Pommel hits it or Potion does, but hopefully we won't have to come to that. It makes sense. Looks like he's really culled down to a nice tight deck here.
Yeah. JMac ponders the treasure chest for a moment, cracks it open, gets a Writhe. Different curse than Terrence got.
Much better. Not thrilling with his energy relics on turn 1.
No, that is not good with the with the turn 1 energy build. You're right. Okay, Terrence does send the Distilled Chaos to get the Second Wind. Blocks for 55. And draws loads of anger cards magically. It's kind of fun. Redrew the Second Wind that got played by the Distilled Chaos. That was weird. Or no, wait, there's 2 Second Winds, right? Yeah. Okay. And then does drink the Entropic, revealing another Entropic. Oh, yeah. Easy game.
This is his first Hyper Beam. He's still not even half dead, but he's called down quite a bit. And you know what? Maybe he can just like stick around for a while. I mean, power through second wind, like. Sheesh, with that Dark Embrace.
Speaking of culling, Panacea is looking at a gigantic Fiendfire and thinking about deleting his entire deck.
Oh.
On the orb? No, don't. What are you doing?
That's so. This is cruelty.
This is cringe. What are you doing? You can't do this.
The poor orb.
This is cruelty to orbs.
He sends it.
Oh, he does it.
Oh, look at this loop here.
Unethical. And
Flash
yes,
into
and this is
Rampage.
exactly what I was talking about. Just shrug, Flash of Steel, Rampage. This either wins or
He's
it
got
doesn't.
Automaton. Surely, I mean, he's in the damn meat grinder here. So much damage per turn. He's got the health
Should we
for
full
it.
screen that maybe?
Yeah, why not? Let's.
Terrence is meanwhile doing like Havoc Anger as a strategy. Also looking like in a
Panacea's
bit of a
in
tough
the
spot.
math grind. Oh yeah. That'd be cool. Yeah, let's let Panacea do his math. Let's look at the other one, or maybe some multi-stream.
Yeah, so here's Terrence's position.
Uh-oh.
Looks like Terrence already survived Hyper Beam. Yes.
I guess Terrence unfortunately had to send an anger earlier on in the fight, and surely for good reason. Is Panacea still doing math? Sheesh.
Yeah.
He's thorough. You know, he's
Oh, he chose the
good
chose
players. They got a plan.
chose the Rampage there finally.
Yep.
JMac, meanwhile, really struggling against Avocado Rat. Looks like that curse turn one really messed with that combat. Look at that Rampage. 64 damage Rampage. It's a mighty Rampage. That just wins clean, right? Rampage, Flash of Steel, Rampage. That's all it takes.
We have Terrence here. You know, these angers still sticking around here.
Goes for the block line. Okay, that's smart, actually. But yeah,
Opening pots,
Panacea
he's
has it with the
gonna-
Rampage. So how's Terrence going to do? Looks like a Clash
Ooh,
Anger
check out
endgame.
Panacea. We got some rare cards.
Oh yeah, Brutality, Bludgeon, and Offering. Another Offering. And we see the boss relics are
Ooh.
Cube, Sozu, Blackstar. I'm taking Cube 100% of the time here.
Ugh.
At least in
Calling
Panacea's
this-
spot.
The fattest cube of 2026.
That's a really good
Love
rare
it.
cube. And yeah, he decides to go with that. Good pick. Terrence looks like is also just going to barely prevail in the Bronze Automaton fight. Goes down to critically low health, but does hang in there and gets the W. So Terrence also
Excellent
prevailing.
position.
Feeling a much less decisive win because Terrence does not have Rampage. Totally different cards here. Double tap, Fiend Fire, Demon Form. Goes for the Fiend Fire, looks like. Yep. Very reasonable choice, given the current deck. That's lots of ways to delete the deck. Terrence is still missing... Panacea has the almighty Rampage, but Terrence doesn't have any card to, like, distill the deck down to win with yet. Other than maybe, I guess... Well, there's Power Through Second Wind. That's good enough, yeah? Yeah, that's good enough,
Maybe
actually.
Strength Pot into late game might be pretty dope. Or is the Power Through Second Wind just that strong?
It won't kill the boss, but it will basically block everything forever, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Staring down that cube as well.
Wait, when did JMac get Wing Boots? Hold on, that's a very big difference. That's interesting. JMac definitely feels like they've got the most unique run going on here.
Yeah, his relic bar is relatively larger for his position, certainly.
Yeah, and again, with the Impervious and Body Slam, got a rather different style of deck.
Not a whole lot of upgrades in his deck. He's a true dig enjoyer. Shit. Fantasy cheating? Just kidding. Yeah. Funny how synced they are
Demon
again, yeah.
Command.
Terrence and Panacea both on their first node. You alright, Panacea? What's up?
I think Panacea is probably just taking a quick little break.
Yeah, that's a
Oh, man.
AFK sign to me. That's my interpretation. Going to the little Spire players room to refresh.
Yeah, dude's got like 2 hours, 15 minutes, maybe even more. So yeah, he's chilling here. This late game shouldn't take that long to think about. JMac in this Gremlin leader is always a fun fight to watch. It could be so polarizing. Sometimes leader's just in a bad mood. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
JMac,
If leader wants you
it's,
dead, you're going to have a bad time, guaranteed.
you're at the whim. Some body slammery on the table, perhaps.
Yeah, it's hard to know whether you want to turn that Impervious into damage right now or wait to use it as block later. Tough call.
He chose
I think
the
it's
damage.
fair to say that JMac is in the worst position of the three.
And yet, I
Yeah.
feel like the deck has the most endgame potential. Wait, is that true? Not necessarily. Most endgame
mean-
damage potential. I should maybe coach that phrase or condition that. Put an asterisk in what I'm saying.
Look at this Gremlin lineup here. Now we got he's
Double Wizard.
forcing out the explosive potion here.
That's a little, yeah, definitely. I'd be eager to reduce the numbers I'm facing down in that position. Yikes.
Shockwave's a great hit though here, especially for the weaken in the following turns too. The leader gets nasty.
Terrence rolls into a shop, unable to remove the normality, unable to buy Brimstone, sadly. Wonder if anyone will be bold enough to choose Brimstone as their way to do endgame damage. Can be a surprisingly nice Act 3 pickup. I feel like. Pretty niche,
Yeah,
but
it's definitely my blind spot, Brimstone type stuff.
speaking
I
of
guess it's like when
angry
you're
Gremlin leader, JMac getting slapped again here by the leader. Looking like things are a bit desperate.
how do you know when to act 3 Brimstone? Is it like when you have like decent block scaling sort of thing? or
Yeah,
you just
it's for me.
need
It's a
anything else?
sign. I want like feel no pain and or dark embrace. Especially I want disarm. If I've got disarm, I'm feeling pretty good about
Excellent point.
taking the brimstone.
JMac makes it out alive.
Okay,
You got
yeah.
tiny chest with cursed keys. Is that even
Ew.
positive?
You know, I would scrutinize the map and determine whether I'm taking 4 events, and skip it regardless. Actually, now that I think about it,
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything.
That seemed like an autopilot click to me.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
man.
so.
Yeah, the
With
nerves
wing-
could be high. We're
With wing
playing
boots,
live
it's
here,
unlikely
high
to be
stakes.
punished, at least. JMac
Yeah, it's
also
one of those
picks it
things
up.
where it's like
or rather, yeah.
objectively incorrect to take it, but it also will never matter, so
Yeah,
never punished.
never punished, indeed.
Makes the bar bigger. You gotta keep his relic lead. Just wondering what to do into this boss fight. He's evaluating his automaton. We saw the other 2 players do a big struggle here.
Yeah, Terrence seems to be using his face as the
Hmm.
spiker solution. That's concerning.
Wow, look at that dark embrace.
Oh, Dreaming a Dark Embrace for JMac.
Yeah. Does
Wow.
open up some kind of loopy business with a body slam, perhaps. Oh man, look at this draw where he's floating 7 energy. Oh my goodness.
Brutal. Yeah, that Writhe is quite brutal. That's part of the reason JMac's kind of behind, is that the JMac actually genuinely got a worse curse than Terrence did. Notably, though, JMac is the only player with the green key at the moment, so JMac has free pathing in Act 3, where the other players do not. And that could be huge. The other players must contend with a burning, potentially Reptomancer, or maybe the Giga Giant Head, the 625 health monstrosity that has ended many a run. That guy, especially for runs that are struggling with damage, Giant Head can come out of left field and just crush you.
Yeah, but like, okay, hold on. Look at JMac's deck right now. Like, how does he win this fight? Because he has no power through. He has no, like, rampage for scaling damage. No strength at all. This is...
No, I think you might be
I don't
right.
know.
This could be our first loss.
No entropic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no entropic. Yeah, this is like, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to pull a rabbit out of a hat here, but it's looking very dire.
Maybe a liquid body slam is like his best bet, if anything.
Yeah, you mentioned that Zeknar lost this seed. It's very easy to imagine that Zeknar might have taken a path that saw cards like JMac did, and therefore did not assemble a damage plan for Automaton. Because JMac did go out of his way to get more relics, fight more elites. And what did that get him? Wing Boots, Tiny Chest. And I guess Akabeko for 8 free damage.
Yeah. How are you feeling, Chad? Are you feeling optimistic? Do you think, place your bets here? You think he's going to get through this boss?
Yeah, I'll make that a prediction on my channel. That sounds fun.
JMac equals Zek? Yeah, maybe so. Maybe he took the same path and it's because he's the up and coming Zek, yeah. JMac Giga dead, says Bishop. I think it's more likely than not, but you know, I think there's a draw order. Maybe there's like yeah, so one of the babies is holding offering. Maybe you like strategically kill the baby on the right turn and do like a fat double slam turn.
There might be a way.
Yeah. There's like a dark embrace to maybe play slam like a third time.
My chat overwhelmingly against the idea that JMac could win, but maybe a few lucky individuals could earn some serious points by betting on the long play.
Somebody's got to suffer too.
Somebody just pick up a fairy. Did I see that right? Oh yeah, Panacea just bought a fairy.
Panacea.
That's a good move when you're huge. I think because of the feed scaling, Panacea seems to be in the strongest overall position. Especially now that they have Exhume, which means they could eat 2 Spikers in one fight. Or 2 Jawworms. We see that's coming up too.
Yeah. Panacea and Terrence are both in position to win again. Maybe it could be another Terrence tie, you know?
Yeah.
It's like 2 half wins. It makes like 1 full, maybe. I don't know the math on that, so I'm just gonna...
A good question here from my chat, actually. Do we have a tie-breaking metric? Like, if all 3 players win, then who determines who won the best? Is it first to win or high score?
The answer is it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
We're not really doing this for winners beyond bragging
All right,
rights
they-
and like as a showcase of Spire talent.
Got it. They rejoice in a shared victory, is the phrasing I saw a board game use once, and I like it.
Yeah.
I think we all win because we get to see high-level Spire.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
deserve
we
it.
all
We
win.
raised $2,500 for charity. Shout out Spire players and watchers.
Terrence looking at 3 colorless card here with the sensory stone. This can always be a run transforming moment. Dark Shackle's pretty sweet. Hand of Greed versus Transmutation. Yeah, it does take the shackles. Panic button also pretty good. Trip can do work, but not when you have double bash. Not even that good a panic button, actually.
How many elites are we looking at here? Yeah, Terrence luckily has this blue key, so there's no forced extra curse. It's looking hot. We see, has JMac made any progress here? Well, not too much deeper into the fight. Yeah, he feels intimidated here.
Okay, Terrence rolling up to Reptomancer. It's definitely an intimidating moment. Staring down the double daggers, looking at not much turn one except for Dark Embrace in hand. I think in Terrence's position, I play Dark Embrace and 1 defend, and then take a little bit of damage to draw a card with the cube here. But maybe he's thinking about a potion or something already.
You ever like Dark Embrace Shackles middle, so that you still get the cube draw and you get to see an extra card this time?
Oh, Shackles Repto to see one more card? Yeah, that's a valid line.
Yeah. Yeah,
but then the
Shackles
problem
on the reshuffle, I don't know, I just want to get through the cycle.
Yeah, but what if you top deck Offering though? You have Normality in hand.
Yeah. That could be 1 card down or 7 cards down.
I guess
Probably
you
still
have
got good odds.
I guess you have Gambler's Brew if you top deck Offering or something. There's ways to respond.
Must be what he's thinking about. He's taking this fight serious.
Yeah,
He's
so is
pretty
JMac taking
polarizing.
the Bronze Automaton serious and really having a big think here about what to do. Yeah, JMac realizing he's screwed, says chat. Extremely
Yeah.
understandable.
But is he going to win the staring contest? With the
He
automaton.
can just sit here for the next hour and a half if he wants to. Stare at the automaton, doing 12x2, just chilling, vibing. Oh, playing cards. Big second win
What's
turn.
happening.
Is it going to be enough though? I don't see how this actually does anything ultimately. A very core problem. Oh, Terrence does use the Gambler's Brew against Repto. Draws an equally miserable hand, it feels like, but at least one without Normality in it. Sends the Havoc, hits Ascender's Bane. Oh, boy. Terrible.
Another chance for Clash to play here.
And this is max health
Draws.
Repto, too. Those first 2 daggers have 26 and 29 health, which means they are not easy to dispatch. But Clash is here, our savior.
Love to see it. A lot of damage coming in next turn here. We got 2 offerings in the draw pile. I think things are looking a little promising. Letting cube. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was calculating a few break points there, huh? He hit the higher health one. He's got something in mind.
It's the scary turn.
Yeah.
A turn that has ended many a run. But all the good cards are here. You know, Bloodletting, Shockwave, Fiendfire. Seems like Terrence has a lot of choices here.
Yeah, gotta be careful with the reshuffle, because I believe the normality's still in there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Normality is still around.
Otherwise, you can cycle that thing around like a
Yeah,
mofo,
so
I'm
you can't
sure,
just just blindly play the Fiendfire, right? Because you will redraw the Normality and then your turn is over. That's tough. That's really
Oh.
tough.
Yeah. And Shockwave really does it all. Got the Vong, got the Weak. Oh yeah, he's looking at that Normality. Oh.
Right.
Wait, Shockwave. I guess it couldn't draw the Normality. We haven't reshuffled yet. Yeah. What do you think's going through his head?
I think he's just thinking about the right order to do this in. Something like you can Shockwave, Carnage, 1 dagger. With 9 energy, there's a wealth of possibilities here as to what to do. And not all of them involve drawing too many cards.
Yeah. Would love to see the headbutt. It's the next card. Otherwise, it's hard to draw exactly one more card. And he didn't see it. Ugh.
Yeah, so now the Pommel Strike is a risk.
Yeah. You should be good. Look at that output, though. So much energy. Oh my goodness.
All right, here's the Hyper Beam turn for JMac. Is this the end? Sure looks like it. Throws the explosive pot, gets a Pommel Strike, plays it hoping for something, but there seems to be no answer here. Death is imminent. The mouse is flailing. Yep, it's over. We have our first death, it looks like.
Bailey's chat, you're right. Ugh.
And this was also the end that Zeknar met when he attempted the seed. So it's a noble end to the automaton here. GG to JMac.
It was a good try. Yeah. Shout out JMac. He's his Twitch is at the top before we basically never go back to his perspective. Yeah, check out that QR code. You can give him a follow. Because we got a high production value today. This is it's the real stuff.
Yeah, that's true actually.
That's all Asuki. Asuki, can we see about getting JMac in here for a little debrief?
Yeah, if you guys, well, when he comes back to Discord at least.
Why not?
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
A break immediately at this moment would be very reasonable.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like he had some interesting decisions I want to ask him. Let's have to think about it.
Let me make sure I have JMac's channel correct here.
Terran's doing a very explosive turn into Repto. Fiendfire last card, so the normality draw, we chillin'. We beat some shit, but I don't know, he'll be fine. Come on, guys, he'll be fine. What does this deck even do when it can't cycle? The normality has just never landed with the second one this whole time.
That's tough.
No draw. Here's the second win.
Karen's
no
definitely done a lot of
normality,
health here.
though.
Yeah, being stuck with the normality. What did Terrence buy instead of removing normality? Removed strike, right? Oh yeah, removed strike. That's right.
I guess
I'm not sure I can condone that behavior.
Was it the strike remove? Because it's kind of like getting more top end into the automaton. Was that, you think that was his fear? Gotta be.
That's tough.
Yeah. Clash is.
Yeah, and he can't even play the bloodletting because it draws with cube. This is spooky. Although what he should do is headbutt the top card and then has freedom to draw one card. That might be the line.
Headbutt or stay winning. He's gonna risk the draw. Is he? Oh, check out Panacea is doing some colorless cards.
Oh, I see. Cool.
It's,
yep. It's also seeing the Sensory
Panic
Stone.
Button too.
Panic Button, Dark Shackles, very reasonable take.
Oh yeah.
But will Panacea dig again? That is the question.
Ooh. A lot of the relic pool can become less relevant at this point. I'm like an early relic kind of believer. What kind of upgrades are we?
Yeah, the rest is increasingly appealing because of the huge max health and because of the Dreamcatcher, right? We're now at higher chance for upgraded cards from the card reward. And yeah, Panacea does play with
the main
controller.
pull of that, wouldn't it? Be for the card, because he doesn't need the health into the burning, I don't think. I think he's chilling.
Yeah, the health is more for the whole act.
Yeah.
You definitely don't need it right away.
Yeah.
It's more like, am I going to need this by the time I get to the Act 3 bosses?
I'm not sure if Panacea has ever specifically answered the controller question, but I know that some players, including myself, have considered using controller because it forces them to slow down.
Ooh.
It's also more ergonomic. So if you're clicking a mouse 12 hours a day, then it's better to do 6 hours of mouse and 6 hours of controller if you're going to be a on a computer all day.
Holy cow! Look at this explosive turn from Panacea. When he used a huge
Just
dark
let you guys know,
response.
JMac is around whenever you want to debrief, when there's a good opportunity.
Yeah, I'm down. What do you think, Baylor?
Yeah, we can bring him in right away.
He's
Hello,
here.
JMac.
Hey.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
That was I guess you can't dig. I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to do there. Yeah, I don't know, just a ton of energy every single turn. The ride was funny after the lantern floats like every single combat.
Yeah.
And the what's it called? GT set.
Yes, we saw
Something
you
like
were
7
floating too much
energy
energy
one
there. That
turn.
was tough.
Yeah.
Well, see, I guess you could just do the apparitions, but I didn't really want to play them. But
I think you
even
might have been
those-
the only
I
person to
did
see
have
them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nobody else ended up with the apparitions. One of your
I did.
opponents had to use a
Alright.
rampage to win the boss fight.
Oh, the Hexaghost?
No, the automaton. The
Oh,
automaton.
the Automaton.
Yeah.
I don't
Flash of
think
Steel,
I
yeah.
was offered. No rampage. I know Farm Max had a bunch of relics, but they all just didn't really do anything.
We get run history
Okay.
cam on JMac's stream, please.
You
Show us some cool
probably. I did have the liquid already. They could have maybe done the apparitions with that in mind. But the plan was to just use the. I mean, I still don't have enough damage though anyway. For the automaton, even if I line up that impervious thing, I just draw. I die to the next multi-hit.
I forget. Did you get offered a demon form at any point?
I did at the end of Act 1.
Ah, yes.
Probably could have done that. It gives you enough damage. If I took the demon form and I probably would have done the apparitions then. And maybe you could do something.
Yeah, you with the slam.
Yeah,
where you
not a lot of
let,
options, though, as you
won
can see.
over. Where the slam come in?
I think everybody did a really good job just getting past Hexaghost. That was actually a tough fight to get
No,
the
it
pieces
was.
in
I
place.
didn't expect that. I thought I had plenty of resources for Act 2, and Act 2 was perfectly fine. I could have farmed 3, but I got extra relics by doing the fires with the digs.
Do we
But
wanna
yeah,
kick
the
it-
relics kind of did nothing. Maybe I could try going to the elites, but that's just like hindsight.
It's tough. Is there anything about this seed that you went in that you would have like? Did you treat it any differently from just like a organic random seed at all?
No, I just played normal.
Yeah. Any like? Did you have any
Yeah,
like
let's see.
predictions about what you sort of expected them to put against you guys?
I mean, there's stuff you'd know, like that pyramid's not showing up at the end of Act 1. I knew
Yeah.
the boss relics were going to be terrible, but no, I tried not to use any information like that. I tried just playing normal, and I guess this seed is just good enough to beat me.
Well, you died a similar death to this was a offline Zeknar one, and he died at the Act 2 boss. So you're following in his footsteps.
Yeah.
For this
Yep.
one.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Maybe that's maybe an accolade. Find a good heuristic at least. I mean.
He didn't record that, right? Nah, I'm just kidding. I would like to see how he played that, though. I guess the apparitions really, since I had the liquid, I really should have thought about them more. Because it wasn't out, but I just, even with it, I don't think it works. Because I just don't have enough damage for the boss here at all. And there's no targeted exhaust. Was there ever True Grit here? Or there definitely wasn't Pact. I would have picked Pact anytime.
Somebody saw True Grit right before the boss. I don't think it was you, though. Right before
No, I
Automaton.
only-
If we get multi-stream, we just had a Panacea close out a big Repto fight.
Yes, but both the other players did
Yeah.
get past Reptomancer just now.
Yeah, I don't want
They
to
both have
take too much
collected
of
But
the
they're on the
energy.
same pace.
Yeah, they've been neck
Amazing.
and neck.
Yeah,
all
floor
game,
41,
yeah.
floor 42. They're very much neck and neck.
How did they get through the automaton here?
So, I think they took lines which were much more focused on the idea that they would never find scaling. And so they took like less aggressive, definitively less aggressive paths than you. And in doing so, saw much better card quality.
Oh, I mean that's like okay, but like I was always going to farm max, and I'm the ironclad.
Yep.
So like
Yep.
if I'm playing a regular run, that's always what I'm going to do.
Yep.
This was very very hard. So it was from Zaknar offline. That makes
Mhm.
a lot of sense. This was a very even the Act 1 was very difficult. But I preserved tons of resources. I just I don't see with what I was doing. I don't.
Well, what do
You could
you?
maybe do the apparition thing, but the damage is just not there.
Yeah, so like I said, Panacea was able to use Second Wind to get down to a deck of just, it was Shrug, Shrug, Flash of Steel, Rampage. So just playing Rampage over and over again. And then Terrence had a full potion belt with an Entropic Brew, and then the Entropic Brew had another Entropic Brew. And that kind of
I guess I farm
brute
the
force the
elites.
fight.
Maybe I find Entropic Brew. Because the potion should be the same, right?
The Entropic Brew was in a shop. They both had,
Oh,
it was
I got it.
purchased for 100 gold.
This second shop, I guess maybe. Did everybody go to this first shop?
No.
I guess maybe in a regular run I wouldn't have gone to this first shop, and it was a lot stronger. The second shop was completely awful. So if you go to this shop in Act 2 instead, it's probably quite a lot better. The second shop is really terrible. The relics are Periapt, Juzu, Prismatic, and there's not even. I just bought like Firepot, Liquid. Which is maybe. Yeah, I don't. There was a Thunderclap. I considered it. So am I still on?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Oh
put
my
in
bad.
a really good effort.
Yeah.
Very well played.
Yeah. Do you have any inspirations of how you play Clad? And what do you think?
Inspirations,
Do you have any hot takes or anything that thinks separates you in terms of like evaluations?
Nah, everybody just plays like me now. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
They no, not really. Honestly, well, other than Zaknar, of course, I've watched a shit ton. But that's the only player I've really watched that much in Clad, where I'm actually paying attention and trying to figure out what I should do. Otherwise, I don't really watch anybody else for those reasons.
True that. What
But I have been interested. Maybe I can't watch Nave that much. I would like to see how he does things differently. 'Cause I remember there's something when I started streaming. I look at the like card pick rates for top players sometimes. But I don't necessarily like watch that many people for like inspiration on how to play the Ironclad. I like how I play him. I just need to not make as many mistakes. This time though, I don't even know if I made that many mistakes. I like can't really. This was very very hard. This is a very good seed.
It's hard to point
Right.
to, like, you made different choices than some of the other players, which did lead to your downfall, namely pathing, but it's hard to point to that as a mistake per se, because it's one of those ephemeral things where you really can't know how the different choice is going to change things. So I really wouldn't call it a mistake per se, but it is the difference.
I think Terrence
Yeah,
is
I
dead, by the way.
on the first Merlathon seed for Ironclad, I remember, I don't know, Bailey, you didn't do this one, I don't think, but like almost everybody, or actually I think every single player who did one particular path died, and all the wins were with a 2-shot path, and
Oh,
every
yeah.
single person who went on the 1-shot path died. So it can make a huge difference.
Oh yeah, looks like
I don't know if I've ever lost and I just don't know what the mistake even was. But maybe somebody in chat knows something.
Yeah. Yeah, did you notice any?
I really actually don't know.
What do you think that was the diverging point? What? I don't think you missed anything. Yeah, honestly, like, yeah, just being like a butterfly effect kind of thing. You know, nasty seed.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, like, if anything, I think you were getting more out of the run than the other two. But we were talking about this before we went live, where, like, sometimes Inspire, like, more is less. and you
Yeah.
make the mistakes, and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, I do want to get back to the rest of the round. I see Terrence here fighting for his life here. So
Finally, the
I guess,
second win with the normality, at least.
Yeah,
Sends
J-Mac,
the
do you
Fiend
have
Fire
any-
and just wins. Okay, so not dead, but definitely limping. Potion Belt looking mighty empty. Hit points looking awfully low. Relic Bar looking very bad. Dex still has a normality in it. It's grim. There's a treasure chest up next floor, but he's not allowed to open it unless he gets another curse.
Goodness.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna bid JMac farewell.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much for doing this.
Thank you
and
for playing.
doing the debrief.
All right, thanks. See
W
you guys.
Lions.
Bye bye.
Yeah, GG's.
So that was J-Mac. Give him a follow. He put up a good fight. He's on Twitch. Your Terrence kind of eyeballing some cards. You got a mean heavy blade on the screen.
Yeah, a very Act 3 card reward for Clad. Like 3 useless common pieces of garbage that you don't want. Great.
Does he have to speculate into anything, or do you think he's got a good loop with his power?
He's got to
second
find
already?
a way to kill things that isn't Fiend Fire, or the bosses are going to eat him alive. So he's
Doesn't take much. I think a lot of things are open for him to gobble up here. He's bound to find something.
Panacea, meanwhile, seeming to prove that he is in fact the best Spire Slayer of Clad anyway, by just seeming like they're on a very strong run. Just loaded with potions. We got 129 max health, plus a blood potion, plus a fairy in a bottle. We got feed. We're starting to do body slam things. It looks like Merle's stream just went down. What happened here? Hello? Is anybody else there?
Yeah.
The streams are live in that
I
other
guess
program,
Merle's
that Ninja one.
computer
Yeah, but-
died or
Uh-oh.
something.
Oh, wait, the stream died. No.
Merle said he just lost power. It's back, but he'll need 5 to 10 to restart everything.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah, I'll
Well-
give you the link. We can still keep watching this, and we'll recap everyone.
Yes, yeah, I'm still live on my channel here, so we
Okay,
still
then.
have action from Terrence and Panacea.
Ooh, Hennessy getting the feed off here. Noom Chalka to match the pen, but they're almost even synced, you could say. Bloodletting
Oh, I
Cube,
like that,
that's-
actually.
That's a no-brainer.
I like that. Let's see, is Terrence doing okay against Nemesis here? Terrence definitely limping through the act
Yeah.
much more than Panacea.
With the second one thing going on, hopefully Nemesis isn't too much of a trouble. We're still holding on to that strength pot. Maybe it's going to see some action in late game, like I sort of speculated it might.
Yeah, Strength Potion, back in the old days of people being much worse at the Spire game collectively, Strength Potion was kind of a cheat your way through an Act 3 boss or an Act 2 boss kind of potion. Just a little bit of scaling plus some good high-value cards equals one dead boss. And so that might be what's on offer here.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Act 3 boss matchup? So first of all, we got Awakened one, and the next one is, of course, a mystery. How are these players doing?
Panacea should be just fine. Having a Disarm plus Exhume means Awaken one is no threat, and Time Eater not really either. Terrence, though, is in much greater danger to Awaken one, just by virtue of having to block every single turn. There's no downturns in the Awaken one like there is in, well, I guess just Time Eater. Donu Deka also attack every single turn until you kill one. And that means that there's a lot of pressure to keep that block engine going constantly, which is not so easily done for a deck that has a normality. And it looks like there's going to have a normality into the boss gauntlet too, right? I don't foresee this getting removed.
No way. Must have been pretty inopportune map then, huh?
Yeah, Terrence did go to a shop earlier, but lacked enough gold for the remove.
Oh no. Poor.
Yeah, poor.
Yeah. Wonder if Panacea is going to do some like Pen Bakabeko thing to just like melt Spire Spear.
Yeah,
like
that's
early
a very
Fiendfire,
easy
something
thing
that's-
to do right. Fiendfire Plus with Pen Nib and Akabeko is
Yeah.
36 damage per card in hand.
The draw order is nice to
So
him.
just nukes.
Guess how fast can he? It's a 30 card.
No.
He digs through pretty quick. There might be like literally just like don't play attacks until you see Fiend Fire type beat in the future. Who knows?
All right, I am back. Should have the stream up momentarily.
Welcome back, Merle.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Random power outage.
Brutal.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you're recording, so we could make a VOD still. You know, we can make it happen for the YouTube homies.
Yeah, we'll probably just split it into two. Okay, I'm gonna share. There and. All right, my stream is now back.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for the patience here. Merle's had a bit of a power outage, and we're now late Act 3. We were just talking about some challenges up ahead. First is Awaken one. Next boss, who knows?
Yeah, Terrence is still lacking like a proper late game damage scaling. Oh my, he's actually getting cooked by Nemesis right now. Burn in hand, no block, tanking 20 damage to the face.
Good rod value.
Oh, the rod drew more burns, which didn't activate. That's funny, actually. Is he?
Shout out Rodney.
This is looking very bad. Yeah, again, just unable to put the finishing touches on Nemesis here, who doesn't even have that much health.
This is the kind of position that I'm glad to see in a big event like this, man.
Yeah, we set up this whole event so that we would see some people in bad spots, and that is what we've seen. First to death to Bronze Automaton, now potentially another one to Nemesis here.
And what I'd say is probably, I could speculate, might be one of the last big Spire events. You know, with Spire 2 on the horizon.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah.
Panacea does vanquish the Reptomancer, gets another upgraded Dark Embrace. Yeah, I think Panacea is in a very good spot for the end game here.
Yeah.
Uses
we're
Wing Boots to
feasting
fight
here,
Giant
Wing
Head.
Boots.
Cute.
Top deck the Dark Embrace here, yeah. We're digging now.
Okay, Terrence does survive the Nemesis, gets a Preserved Insect. Demon Form could offer the damage needed, but does Terrence take it? Takes a headbutt, I think.
Yeah, the stream kind of jumbled a little.
I wasn't
Looks-
not quite sure if that was a skip or a headbutt click, but didn't take the Demon Form.
What the little Skippy? Did you catch it, chat?
Nah, skipped. He skipped.
Oh yeah. It turns
Or
kind
wait, no,
enough
that's sorted by...
Oh, is that a weird sword?
That was a weird sword, actually. I'm not sure if he skipped.
I'm keeping the focus on Terrence for now, just because it seems like Panacea has a much stronger position.
Karen's here, staring down the Darklings here. Look at this. Look at this turn one. We're doing a little bleeding here. Looks like there's a... Is there a kill here? Surely, right? We're bringing out the last pot, you know. Break pot in case of emergency. And this might be it. I think, if he glimpses through the next couple nodes, I think he could be in a pretty hot spot. Gets the kill, no potion needed here. I guess he's determining if he wants to send the anger. If he wants like the benefit in the short term. Looks like he does. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, short term is definitely the time to get benefits here for Terrence, because there's not going to be a long term otherwise.
So the time I'm glad to have Rodney for all the self-damage, or Tungsten Rod. Helps us eke out these last few HP. Make it over the finish line, hopefully. Can that drop off? Scared of the normality still. It haunts him. It's breathing over his shoulder.
Yeah, it's really messing with him, right? Because he has to consider the possibility that he could draw it anytime he draws a card, as long as it's in the draw pile, which is really infuriating. It's taxing too. Costs you optimal plays, costs you mental energy. It's really just taking him down bit by bit.
Costing my emotions too.
Now, would this deck be
Terrifying.
winning if it had a strike instead of the normality? I'm not sure it would be. I think it'd be doing a little bit better, but I don't think it'd be strong enough to necessarily like be crushing it or anything. I want to hear the rationale on the Clash when we get Terrence here,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
because that was also, yeah, those are the two things I want to ask about: the Clash and the normality keep.
And clashes haven't been trendy for that long, so glad to see someone who's been around as long as Terrence. You know, he's still keeping up.
Keeping are they trendy now?
It's,
Is that what's
I feel
happening?
Like it was. Well, I guess I should preface it relatively. I mean, I would say it's more acceptable than it was like 3 years ago. What do you think about that?
I think the Clash does have moments where it can shine, namely Lagavulin. And Clad is definitely a character where you're trying to win the game of like, can I pick a really good attack so that I can skip having to take 2 bad attacks and therefore have a better deck just by virtue of having 1 less card in it, even if that 1 card is Clash or Hemokinesis or whatever.
But yeah, trendy. Yeah, that trendy's definitely overselling it.
I've always thought that there was an interesting dichotomy on Ironclad, where Ironclad is like the attack character, but you actually don't really want to have any attacks.
Yeah, you
in
only
your
want
deck.
the only attack you want is Body Slam. That's it. Or 1 Whirlwind or something like, just the one thing that kills everything.
Here's the normality hand with the Havoc. That's a bit of a anti-synergy.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's a stinky hand. At least he could, in theory, play Bloodletting here, but this is dire.
Nice. Oh my gosh. Could this be the end? First? Ooh.
Sends the Havoc, hits Headbutt. Oh no! It's over.
Oh,
It's over. Now the only thing to do is to draw the Havoc again. Yep. Killed by the normality directly.
Yeah, all
GG.
that's left is Panacea.
Death
it could
for
be
Terrence.
a full
This is,
graveyard
again, I
here.
just want to reemphasize, Terrence was tied for rotating world record at one point.
Yeah.
Like, Terrence is a very good player, but Death has met him here on the seed.
Yeah, what heartbreak he couldn't get the back-to-back after winning the original Marlathon. Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
that's true. Unthroned.
And
Unseated.
For him.
my prediction coming true here. I did say that it wouldn't surprise me if only 1 player won
Yeah.
each of the seeds. And it looks like that's what's going to happen here, barring catastrophe from Panacea.
Yeah, it seems difficult.
Right.
Panacea has definitely got a lot of resilience in this run, although notably is bleeding health quite a bit. So I think maybe a boss fight could go a little bit sideways, but I think it'd be hard to lose all of it for sure. Yeah, big with Fairy is a very good position to be in.
We're respecting the Act 3 bosses.
Probably going to rest here, I would have to
Rest.
imagine. Yeah, takes a sleep. Gets offered Sentinel. Nah, we take nothing. 90 health to do Awaken 1. With double disarm, this shouldn't be too hard. But yeah, let's zoom in on Panacea here on my stream. Yeah, disarm exhume turn 1. If you were somehow nervous, you could maybe drink Colorless Potion here, but I don't see why you would need to do that.
Yeah, I'm down losing the second feed to just send the second disarm. Makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense.
you don't need feeds at this point. You're already huge. Now
Even
it's
with
just
meal
conserving
ticket,
health.
you don't always full rest into, or you don't always like full heal naturally into Act 4 without resting.
True.
So saving health could be like relevant.
The meal ticket means you are generally going to be at full health, but Panacea's max health is so high that you actually could still not go to full health with the meal ticket heal.
Exactly, yeah. I genuinely think Relic setup is going to be relevant into Act 4. Or I think it very well could be.
Yes, I think getting the pen nib set up correctly would be a very, very prudent play here. And then actually with this
Back
Happy
down.
Flower, crucially, I think you do not want it on 2 going into Act 4 because of the Ancient Tea Set already giving you 2 energy turn 1 plus the Lantern for another energy turn 1. I think Happy Flower also on that turn would be a waste, so you wanted to put it on a different number. But that's really secondary. It's more about the pen nib.
It is sad getting the because you only draw like 3 real cards on turn 2 because of the burns. But even still, yeah, I'd definitely rather have the energy on turn 2.
Terrence is around and ready to debrief whenever you guys.
Oh,
do.
perfect.
Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it after the run? Do you
No,
think?
the Awaken 1 fight could take a long time, so this would be a perfect time to yap.
Sounds good.
Actually, yeah, I don't mind this at all. Yeah, totally.
Hi,
Here he
Terrence.
is. It's Terrence. You put up a valiant effort. How do you feel?
Hey. Wait, sorry, I have echo. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel okay. Looks like the run was going in a funnish direction, but I feel like I haven't played enough recently to like actually tell what went like exactly wrong.
That's valid.
Did you do any training leading up to the event? Anything in particular to sort of anticipate, sort of like playing set seed or anything?
No, nothing set seed wise. I do like, even though I haven't really been playing, I do watch Zeknar quite a bit, but him not streaming in these last couple of days might have been part of it.
Wow. Blaming Zeknar for the defeat, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you can...
Zeknar, the guy who died on this?
Yeah, I
seed?
was going to say you can directly blame
Yeah.
Zeknar for this defeat, because actually it's Zeknar who contributed the seed for this run.
Yeah.
So it is, in fact, his fault. A couple choices you made during this run I just want to ask you about, Terrence. In Act 1, you added Clash to your deck.
Yeah.
What were you thinking in that moment?
So I was kind of scared going into that next elite. I was like, okay, into like Lagavulin, it would be really, really strong, and into the hallway fight, if I have to go that way, it would be really strong. And at the double second wins, I'm like, it should probably be fine.
Yeah, that makes
Some
sense.
just nice
Yeah,
tempo in the
absolutely.
moment.
It was indeed Lagavulin up next, and I think the Clash did help out quite a bit. So I
Mhm.
kind of agree that was a good way to get through Act 1.
Hmm.
The second thing you did, though, I think it was Act 2, you had a remove at a shop, and with the normality in your deck, you ended up removing Strike, keeping the normality. And with Double Second Wind, I can kind of see the rationale there. But later in your run against Reptomancer, and then in Act 3 against the Darklings, that normality really proved to be part of your downfall there. It felt like you couldn't draw cards without risking drawing into it.
Yeah. Was
Yeah,
it
in
mainly
hindsight,
for Automaton top end, or what was the thought going in?
yeah, I think it was like more of an immediate, like I'm kind of concerned about automatons. Like I don't know if I have to use the brew or not, and just making sure that I actually get through automaton. But in hindsight, yeah, it definitely felt really bad not being able to like draw because of risk of the normality. I was like, oh, it should be fine with double second wind. And it was definitely fine for that for the rest of Act 2, but going into Act 3, it definitely hurt a lot.
Yeah, it kind of stung seeing you hit a shop in Act 3 and then not having enough funds to actually remove the normality. It was tough.
Yeah.
So what's the experience like playing these big events on stream? Do the nerves kind of get to you? How do you how do you think it affects your sort of mindset going in?
I mean, there's not really too much at stake, but I did notice that like my heart rate was definitely up
Yeah.
like right before going into the feed. But once I started playing, the nerves kind of went away. Like I wasn't really thinking about it much. I was just playing the run.
Awesome. So you would consider yourself like an Ironclad main, right? What do you think appeals to you most? Why did you dedicate so much time to Clad?
I don't know if I'd consider myself an ironclad main. But I do like that ironclad. I feel like has a lot more interesting runs. Like he feels like he has like kind of a bit more agency than Silent and Defect at times, especially in the early game.
I agree with that.
Yeah, the early games are fun. Absolutely.
Like it is fun to spam cards on Silent or just like try and like not die with Defect. In the second part of like in the like middle-ish parts of the game if you don't really get anything good, or just like Defect's heart fights I find are really fun. But I do like Ironclad just throughout.
Yeah. Is there any other questions that you had, Baylord, or do you think we should get back to the action?
I asked all I wanted to ask.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Terrence, or is anything you want to tell all the people on Baylord and Merle's stream and the VOD?
Yeah, main thing, just thank you guys for running this event. Like, it's nice to reconnect with the Spire community a little bit ahead of Slay the Spire 2, where I will definitely be back. So look forward to that in the next 2 months.
Heck yeah.
Hopefully it comes.
So
in
many
a
people are
two-part
coming back. It's
mark.
going to be
Yeah, you bet your ass we
stacked.
are looking forward. Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you for participating.
Yeah, and thank you for running this as well as Merle. And yeah, it's a fun event.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks.
yeah.
Thanks so much for being a part of it. And yeah, we are definitely looking forward to everybody coming back for Spire 2. Big shout outs to Terrence. And indeed all of our competitors. And indeed all of our But
Yeah.
speaking of our competitors, Panacea is still here.
Is
and
still here, yeah.
still-
And deleting
Last man
Donu Deka.
standing.
Yes.
Positively deleting.
Yep.
Seems very likely. Again, Runic Cube into the Act 4 is almost always good. Fat enough to just tank hits to the Shield and Spear and still beat the boss. Did not set up the Penib. Did set up the Happy Flower wrong, as discussed. So we talked about Relic setup being crucial. I think this is a big fail from me on the Relic setup, but maybe the position is strong enough that it won't matter too much.
Yeah, what if you just say like you're resting into Act 4 anyway, so just like eat whatever. But yeah, oh yeah, even a meal ticket, yeah.
Yeah, you're
this is
actually only getting 5 health
basically-
out of this rest, but you're also getting a card reward. So Smith and even Dig could be a
Ooh.
thing.
Infinite.
Diggs, yeah, digs up the sundial. Yes, gaming.
Infinite, he
Infinite
says
gaming.
in his console chat. He just had to tell us. He's must be excited. Type 1.
One of the digs of all time.
God damn. Don't worry about engagement bait, Panacea. Just play. Come on.
Baiting the chat.
Oh my god, yeah. He doesn't even know that he's the only one
Oh, but
lasting.
it still has the opportunity to flex on the Spire by buying the Brimstone. Sending telepathic thoughts to the runner to buy Brimstone right now. Especially with Disarm. Buy it. Buy it.
Second disarm, we need some good consistency at early hard draws. Could do a little strip. Strip's
Yep.
pretty important, Spire Spear. We do a bag of marbles for strip on turn 1. I will say. I mean, I'm kind of underselling it. The strength down literally just like plays into Spear too. So like, you know.
Another offering just makes total sense. With this many hit
Yep.
points, it's just kind of free. It's a good card.
Yep. Offering turn 1.
Yeah, looks like we have, like I said, too much energy on turn 1. This is a little bit inefficient.
Yeah, here's my Dark Embrace.
The Fiend
come on.
Fire Akabeka wouldn't have happened, so that's fine. But yeah, 12 energy and not a very good hand here.
All dressed up and nowhere to go.
I think in Panacea's position, I use the Rampage to turn around. Hit the shield here.
I think he's trying to save the Pendiv. Or he's thinking about it. Oh, he's sending it. Where's he?
Yeah, five energy floating at the end of the turn, huh?
23 cards. Yeah, if he's going for it. Oh my gosh.
Oof. That is that
Nasty
is a tough draw. But
He's using colorless, yep.
yeah,
Just looking at
that's
it,
very
too.
reasonable. Secret weapon, Fiendfire.
The Dark Embrace, yeah, a lot of stuff literally just draws straight up.
Can't play Fiendfire and evolve. Fiendfires anyway, very reasonable.
Yeah, Panic Button, we love to see it here. Shout out Panic Button, underrated card.
Yeah, Panic Button slaps. I find often, even if you have to deal with the downside of like not being able to block on the next turn with Panic Button, the damage you take is less than the amount that you blocked with the Panic Button, so you're still net positive.
Yeah, that it's like, I don't know, just like kill shit. You have a free turn, you know?
Yeah, you just kill everything.
How
That's
could it be?
very valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, having no block next turn into the 38 though is going to be a little painful. Maybe there's a
Hopefully
plan to
draws
kill
like a
this
kill or something.
the shield somehow. Feel no pain can block at
Sorry.
least.
Yeah, that's true. The Panic Button debuff, it's like having minus 1,000 dex basically. So things like Rage and Feel No Pain go through just fine. This deck doesn't deal that much damage until you exhaust down. So luckily, yeah, the
Yeah.
Feel No Pain saving some bacon here.
An interesting consequence of the Panic Button being minus 1,000 dex is that if you gain dex, you can actually block.
Yes, you can get like 1 or 2 block per
no.
card if you gain dexterity. Kind of weird.
I thought that was only a bug on mobile.
I'm pretty sure it works on PC. I might be wrong, but
Can exhume the Panic Button. Yeah, don't don't recommend. It's right up there with Burst Panic Button as a play you will surely regret. Yeah, I'm wondering what the damage plan for Heart is going to be here. I guess Sundial is the damage. Yeah, we just Sundial.
Yeah, like I don't know, even like unlimited health. Yeah, just like
Yeah, just Sundial.
we saving 3 potions. Yeah, and dial. Take some beat. Got good Excel. I mean, we got the damn heart relic. We got the cube. Ooh. I mean, I guess the anchor is gonna be trolling it a little bit at first. Cube with tungsten rod is kind of funny for like just taking 1 damage to beat for cube. Goes from 2 to 1. It's like perfect. Wow, Second Wind Sundial popping off already. He's gonna probably try to get that feed off. It's
Yeah, already.
gets value with the 2 health potions.
Already Sundial Gaming.
Yep.
Okay,
It's
this
kinda like
should be
plus-
way more than enough health to essentially force a Heart win, no matter what the draw order.
Yeah.
So it looks like Panacea is going to be our winner here.
All that stuff. He's just got to run those bases. This is it. What do you think's going through his head, though, man? And he doesn't even know. He's the last guy.
Oh,
We
yeah,
gotta,
that's
like,
right. He has no
get him
idea. He could be in
You gotta
last
like
place
get him
for
on
all he
stream
knows.
and like get his reaction. You know. It'd be like, oh man, yeah. Everyone else. Oh, yeah. This was easy. I'm sure everyone else just like smoked it. You know. It's like totally.
How meticulous will the Pendip setup be? Looks like not very.
I mean, I don't know. It's like not enough for the Akabeko Valley, but you know what? I think he might be okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fine.
We don't need drop kick to go infinite. Hell no.
Juggernaut's fun, but no.
He's-
No need. Clicks right into the hard fight. I think he knows.
Yeah, no way to cube on turn 1. I would love to cube, but
Akabeko would be good here, or Pendib rather would be good here. This Fiendfire would have been pretty disgusting damage per card with the Vuln.
disgusting. He's gonna keep the Fiend Fire around. He's gonna need it to do some
more
exhausting,
card
or
purging
some,
later?
Field of Pain block.
Interesting.
Some draw.
I would have been
Oh,
tempted
it's
to
just
just
a card
send it
that
there.
does everything. You send it.
Yeah, what's the Hearts block plan? Plan for Panacea here should be to exhaust down to Shrug It Off, Pommel Strike, and use the Sundial to win. But there are other lines that could be taken.
Yeah. Funny draw, getting two of the 5 statuses
Oh.
in his massive draw pile.
Massive misplay here. Disarming the Heart, not able to draw 15 cards this turn. Shame.
Oh man.
I guess we could just play our cards to draw more cards. That's fine.
Yeah, the Sting Raid on that turn was funny too. But yeah, you got the cube. You know what can go wrong?
Yeah, I genuinely think not taking damage to the Heart's attack here is bad. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, no more cube value.
Throws away the
Or
feed.
dis- or
Can always
disarm
exhume
cube,
it.
Actually.
There's still hope, chat. There's still hope. Double disarm just for fun.
The armaments feel no pain.
Disarm does suck. Okay, there's the feel of pain.
What do you mean it sucks? It drew a feel no pain. It's goaded.
He did kind of bottom deck every power and offerings, but I guess they're here now.
Yeah. We spent the whole game preparing for this moment, and preparing he did.
Yeah, over prepared even. Like, very hard to not simply prevail at this point. But that's the mark of having played the run well, right? Like, you had to make a lot of choices to put yourself in this position.
Fought tooth and nail for this, and he now gets to reap the rewards. In a fight like
Chaos.
this, yeah, Dark Embrace wasn't even like a top priority, you know? You already got draw
That
on
one
top
Dark
draw,
Embrace
you
is
know?
fine. You don't need to.
It would still be a nice luxury, certainly. Just gonna end the turn. Maybe find a better offering turn when he gets like a goofy draw.
Yep. Yeah, draw like 10 cards into this turn, right? 9. I like the
So many choices.
bloodletting draws too, because it hurts you twice with Beat of Death. Cube too good.
Yeah. Oh man, we're gonna have some extra time in the event because it's been 2 hours, 20 minutes so far. So technically, Panacea he's got all damn day, and then we have a big defect run coming up next. We got some big competitors, and that'll be get the time off the dome here. It's like 4:30 EST, 4:30 Western, I think.
Yeah, it should
Should be
be
like, what,
7:30 EST.
7:30 EST. Who do we got here? We got Kroven, Japanese export, and Nikki. So stay tuned, guys. Don't touch that dial.
Yeah, Japanese exports just recently had a very big defect streak, like 14 or something. Might even be ongoing.
And yeah, you need a
It is
Big
not
Reddit post.
ongoing, but the theoretical streak is arguably ongoing.
theoretical streak. Could you explain for the audience?
It's it's a thing in his chat basically of if it seems like the run could have won if he didn't, misclick or make a silly mistake or something.
Oh, I
It's like,
see.
oh, my streak
Huh.
could be this long by now because, getting another streak immediately after one dies to something silly.
Yeah, I could relate. I know that feeling.
All right, and Panacea now is officially infinite, meaning
Yep.
it's all over. But the screaming
gotta-
with a nice amount of health, no less. Well done.
As long as he doesn't second wind away his if he does second wind away his shrug, he'll be fine. I'm just trying to create some stakes. All right, guys.
Seems like we're really reaching here.
Yeah.
Question is, will anyone go infinite during the defect run? That's a much less frequent infinite abuser, the defect, I feel like.
Yeah, what kind of crazy set seed shenanigans do you think's being set up? What's the evil that Merle has concocted?
Ooh, I'm hoping it's like no energy relics for the defect. I don't know.
No, yeah, the defect run is actually just you get offered defrag in every single card reward, and you have to click it, but then your deck is only defrags, and unfortunately, you can't win with only defrags in your deck, so you lose.
So you're saying defrag and judgment are equally good?
Yes, defrag and judgment are basically the same card.
Great.
True. Yeah, what kind of predictions do we have here? Crovan, Japanese export, Nikki. Who's gonna take the?
I'm still
take the
rooting
W?
for my boy Japanese export.
Yeah.
That's the victor I want to see here.
That'd be huge.
I'm sure Jason will have a theoretical victory at least.
Yeah. Here's where my streak would be if I had one. Yeah, do we have any speculations kind of on their play style? How would you say their kind of act ones differ from each other? I'm less of a defect guy. I'm not as tapped into the culture. What do you guys think?
I don't know if I can speculate on this. I definitely don't know the player's play style quite well enough.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Nikki, the homie. You know, they're a college teacher. They got a graduate in math, just like Panacea actually, who happened to just win the whole Ironclad segment.
GG.
So let's go. He's popping off. He doesn't even know he's the only one who won yet.
Let's
Get
go.
Get him on the line.
Okay. Ring up that clad player. Victory for Panacea, the only survivor of this difficult seed. Zeknar couldn't beat it. Terrence MHS couldn't beat it. But Panacea the GOAT has vanquished it. And unlocked Dead Branch? Wait, what? Hold on a minute. Wait a... What?
Check his computer.
Check his PC. Check his PC.
But no, it's probably just a glitch. From,
yeah, I think so. I think so.
yeah.
If there was a different...
That's if you use the unlock everything mod,
yeah.
then it doesn't necessarily.
Yeah,
like,
I was
you
gonna
still
say-
have all the unlocks and get the same relics, but just doesn't show.
We would have seen Divergence prior to this if there was actually something different going on.
Look at that elite run. 4 elites in a row. We get that wing boots swag.
Yeah, 4 elites in a row. That's a cool thing to see on the run history screen.
Yeah.
Sick.
5 total.
Very, very good run from Panacea.
Yeah. Tight deck, 34 cards. Reasonably so. Oh, and here he is in the waiting
All
room.
right,
now.
and he's here.
Excellent.
minute.
Welcome.
Panacea, congratulations on winning
you-
the Merle Fun bonus day.
Well, the clad run anyway.
Oh yeah,
Is my audio working?
Yes.
you sound great.
You're a little quiet, but we can hear you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. That worked out pretty well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it was a. Man, I can't imagine I must have felt in that preparing for the Act 2 boss there. You were,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Pretty sure you
The
had
Rampage deck.
yeah.
It's so funny. I always tell my chat like, you can just pick Rampage. You don't need to build a Rampage deck. And then here I go, just like went on the big stage, just straight up building a Rampage deck.
Yep. Yeah, it worked out well. Yeah, how does it feel to have won your run with only 1 copy of Bash?
With only 1 copy of Bash.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
Terrence had twice as many Bashes as you.
Oh.
Oh wow. How did he get 2? Match and keep?
Yeah, Match and Keep gave him 1 pretty much uncontrollably. It was actually decent in a Hexaghost.
Oh wow. That's funny. Yeah, I guess like, are other people done? What's the?
You are the only survivor of this run. Everybody else is dead.
Oh.
So congratulations, you win.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that's nice. I
Yeah.
mean, too bad that we couldn't get everyone to win, but I guess I did pretty well then.
Yeah, you definitely did better than the other players. You're the only one to get feed and bring that online, so you were able to kind of scale your late game that well. JMac did not get past Bronze Automaton, was unable to find a damage plan for the Act 2 boss fight that worked because they didn't have the almighty Rampage. And then Terrence got a Normality from the Curse Key, and that ended up bringing him down in Act 3.
Oh, dang. Yeah, the feed, I mean, I really value the feed. So once I saw that, I kind of, you know, I was a little more relaxed for the heart. Like, it definitely helped the mental game.
Good. Were there any is there anything that you learned in, because you were picking the worst boss rock on every screen for practice, like leading up to this event? Did you learn anything sort of within the past, like, say, month or so about Clad, and how did it play out?
So that was like, I heard that you guys are gonna be picking a hard seed, and I'm like, okay, I can maybe use this knowledge to my advantage. And so I'm like, let's say someone's just picking through maybe 1,000 seeds by hand and take the hardest one. They're probably gonna give you really bad boss relics, like no Niao bonus, and probably like bad potions early on. So I had some kind of a strategy, which is like I should prepare at least for like not a good energy relic, like relatively bad boss relics. But then once I started playing, I realized that like I was feeling a lot more nerves than I would just normally play on my stream. A part of that's because my stream is always just like a backseating stream. Twitch chat really just, you know, talking through everything just really helps me. So I realized that I really just needed to replicate the conditions of just how I would play on my stream. And I guess that kind of undid whatever preparation I had kind of gone through in the last month, because this kind of month is too short for me to like really change the way I'm playing based on a new notion of a hard seed, I guess.
Yeah, glad it paid off. Yeah, I've always felt like in co-op streams, it's great having sort of overlapping perspectives. Just not as many blind spots. You have to be a lot more careful when it's just you in the game.
I have a question, which is, like, when you were playing the run, were you thinking, oh, this is hard? Because I feel like watching your run, there wasn't really any point where I would have been super concerned if I was playing it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think once I got, honestly, like, as soon as I bought that Entropic Brew, I think from there on out, I was just like, I'm not super worried. Like, everything is going well. And so the only parts were before that. So my first elite, I did go for the 4 elite path, I think. And then I pivoted to 3 elites at the end. But the first elite, if that was sentries, I think it goes a lot harder. I got the Lagavulin with the Arma Plus, the Rampage, and that helped me, I think.
Yeah. So one person was kind of interested in chat about sort of your thought process picking up the early Rampage, because I know you tend to click them more than the average Clad player. I'm curious, like, what's sort of like the heuristic that sort of you go into, and did Set Seed play into that at all?
So I always, I mentioned this before, but I always say Rampage is a good card to take on floor 1. And in this run, A, I didn't have another attack yet, and B, I had 2 removes. So I'm going to be drawing that Rampage a lot. And I think that Rampage is an attack. Sure, it kind of sucks. Like, it doesn't do that much. But one thing it does do, and often I do mention this to my chat, is that if you have Exhaust Deck, but you don't have like the Body Slam or like, you know, an infinite combo, or you don't have too much assembled yet, it kind of can play that role. So it doesn't fall off that hard. And it actually, like, this was the perfect run for why I normally take Rampage, is because, like, if it didn't have this use where sometimes it's really good in Act 2 boss, then it's just not that good of a card, because other attacks are just better in Act 1. But one energy DL8 does make your deck better at the start of the game, especially when you don't have other cards added. because your deck is small, you draw the Rampage quicker. And it doesn't fall off that hard because of these random uses that happen sometimes where you exhaust your deck and you don't have anything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well played.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
I think it's. Go ahead.
yeah, I kind of wanted to ask you about yeah, because I've always enjoyed seeing your takes on like rares from Niao. I'm curious, like, I just want to find how much stuff do you think is like generally like better than Fiendfire? I know you're like Immolate. I think there was some talks about like Bludgeon from Niao too, or like what's sort of your whole
Yeah, so
situation?
about maybe 3 years ago, I made a clad spreadsheet of like strategy questions, and I was trying to like, get the community's insight on some questions. And one of the questions I put was, do you want Bludgeon or Fiendfire from your Niao bonus? And every single person who filled out the form except for me says Fiendfire, and I say Bludgeon. So that is like, I do have some hot takes, I guess, in terms of, I mean, here you can see Fiendfire was kind of amazing, but I do think that it's not really critical. Like, if you have a lot of draw, then Fiendfire is amazing, right? But the times when Fiendfire sucks is like, you don't have enough draw, and you can just play your cards, or you can exhaust them, and you might not even make it to your second shuffle anyway. And so I think because of that, I don't value Fiendfire late game as high as other people do. I mean, it's definitely good earlier, but Bludgeon is definitely better early because it doesn't exhaust. So you can use that repeatedly, you can upgrade it for a huge amount of damage, and it doesn't make sentries super awkward. So I think Bludgeon is better in Act 1, and Fiendfire to me isn't like the critical piece. It's like, if I have enough draw, then it's nice, but like, it's more like, I don't know, I just don't value it as much. But to answer the rest of your question, I can share with you guys that I made a thing in my Discord of my favorite cards to start a run. I won't go into the strategy too much, I'll just like list off the top 5 here. Like my favorite rare cards to have at the start of the run. Let's see. I know I put this in my Discord. I know Hand of Greed is my favorite. I think it's like Hand of Greed, Apotheosis, probably Feed, and Immolate. Okay, I guess I can't find it right now, but
That's with the feed placing too. That's awesome. You've always never been afraid to sort of like go away from the grain. I've considered you as like a very like intellectually curious type of person. Do you think there could be some correlation with like having like a math degree?
yeah, the mathematical sort of analytical part of my mind really latched on to the strategy of Slay the Spire. I think also just having a good sense for probability type questions. It's like definitely don't need to think as hard in terms of just doing the mental math. I guess that's kind of related to the question about like learning the game. I guess learning math and learning the game though is pretty different, because in learning math you're usually trying to learn theory and then apply it. But here you really are like discovering on the frontiers, so it's more like math research. But definitely I've always loved games, and I value the critical thinking aspect with the math as well. So sorry, I don't know if I'm making much sense there.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does.
I would say Spire demands a certain side of creativity. It's more like the engineering kind of side, like the problem-solving type of creativity.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
what I like about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I personally have always found much more joy in the like research and development side of Slay the Spire than I have in like the I'm gonna try to play perfectly
Definitely.
side of it.
Yeah.
Because like it's really been interesting to see how opinions on things have sort of evolved over the years, and that wouldn't have been possible if you didn't have people who were clicking on weird stuff and seeing what happened. And I keep trying to bring this back a little bit to Slay the Spire 2, because this is kind of like we're wrapping up Spire 1 and we're looking forward to Spire 2, and we just have so much in front of us now in terms of, okay, well, nobody knows anything about anything, and we're gonna kind of hopefully experience sort of like a renaissance in terms of the amount of just like, I'm gonna click on random stuff and see what happens, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Definitely.
Yeah,
There'll be lots of losses, lots of glorious discovery.
Merle, I think of you as one of the big innovators for Watcher, at least. Like, before that, I don't know, no one was forcing Infinite, and then you and Papa and maybe some other people were just like, yeah, but what if we forced Infinite every run? I mean,
Yeah, I
not
remember
exactly every run, but...
what ended up happening was my computer died, and I was very sad, and just on my laptop and just like spamming Watcher runs. And then one day I was just like playing this deck where I had like 2 meditates, and I was just playing the same stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, all of the stuff in my deck is irrelevant except for like 3 cards. What if I just never click on anything? And then I kind of just started not clicking on stuff, and it worked a little bit. But like that's the kind of thing where you don't necessarily find that stuff out unless you sort of throw your head at the wall over and over again and try new and funky things and like challenge what people, believe. And that's what I've always admired about you, Panacea, for sure. Is like you're always coming up with some like takes that are maybe questionable, but like maybe not. Like obviously you're not going to hit on everything, but
right.
You're not. You've definitely hit enough to where you can say, oh wow, okay, there's something going on there.
Yeah, definitely enjoy throwing stuff at the wall. It plays nicely with trying to compete for win streaks in particular, because I know Jorbs has mentioned this many times, but like when you're doing win streaks, when it's low, you just do fun builds, and then you kind of learn something from that. And then when it's high, you can kind of test out the trying to play optimally side of things as well. And then if you have both of those aspects going on, then you can really get the improvement, I feel.
And is it always full runs that you use for discovery? Or like if you're trying to figure something out in Act 1, do you do any like labbing where you just like jam a certain a bunch until you kind of get a feel for it? Or is like what sort of ways do you practice?
I haven't done that. Pretty much all of my practice and all of my Slay the Spire in general. I mean, I play a little bit on iPad, but it's mostly just streaming. So I won't really just abandon runs or repeat the same thing, but I definitely will experiment if win streak is low. I will also meme sometimes. Like a couple of days ago, I had the most broken Act 1 ever, and it was like Corruption, Dead Branch, Fiendfire, Second Wind, Offering by the end of Act 1. And I just like, what if I don't take any boss relics from here out and just make the run harder? And of course it was still completely trivial to win that way, but definitely don't always need to take runs super seriously.
Man, I love that. Yeah, just get your reps in basically. Yeah, because how long have you been sort of streaming and that's like playing Slay the Spire?
I started streaming, I think it was like around 2021. It was like probably a little bit after Zeknar started, and Merle had already been streaming for a while. I think since then, yeah, I've never really been super consistent because I've always wanted it just to be a hobby. So I never feel like I'm obligated to stream at certain times, and that might take the fun away a little bit. So I never really grew my stream too much, but I've always just kind of been there, jamming runs here and there.
Yeah, I'm curious, in that early gold rush of Spire 2, I'm curious if you have any sort of approach you're going to try to take to like, if you want to like try to figure anything out quick, or if you're just going to be,
I'm going to stream it. I think maybe some viewers will watch me just to like hear me compare Ironclad in Slay the Spire 2 compared to Slay the Spire 1. I think there's a lot of content that will be sort of fun to compare stuff and see how whether the character feels stronger or weaker or stuff like that.
It's gonna be cool.
I think one thing that's going to be interesting about Slay the Spire 2 from sort of a competitive or like streaking standpoint is that the game is going to be evolving so much early on. And I think that when Slay the Spire 1 was sort of in its earlier development and evolving, people were still doing win streaks and stuff like that, but it wasn't as advanced and fleshed out as it is now. So it's going to be interesting to sort of see the community, which is now come such a long way in terms of how we approach quote unquote competing as much as you can compete in this game, and then contrast that with, okay, well, everything's brand new, the game's going to be changing constantly. How do you meld those two things together, basically? So that'll be something that'll be interesting to see going forward for sure. I think that most likely people are just gonna not really go for, like, people are going to be exploring a lot more early on and not really expressly going for like, oh, I'm gonna try to get a huge win streak. Like, I don't think that that's going to be a thing that's going to be valued for a while.
I think it'll be there. I think there'll be interest pretty quickly, actually, because all the streak records start at 0 for a brand new game. So there's going to be a lot of interest.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
In streaking, because any streak is going to be impressive. Nobody's got any records set or anything like that.
Yeah, I wonder how quickly, like, we'll see 10 streaks. I don't think it'll take that long, personally. I think people are really, really, really good at the game, and I think that I don't think it'll take that long for us to see.
But doesn't this strictly depend on how hard the ascensions are? I mean, they might have cooked
That's
it.
true. That's true. Yeah. We don't know, and this is what we were talking about earlier. Is like, we don't know how hard the game is going to be, and hopefully we're not in a position where people are winning, like, but that kind of, it's difficult because if you think about all the new players, right, that are going to be coming into the game, they don't have any of the advantages that the more experienced community has. But if you make the game such that the more experienced community is going to, like, if you make it the same level, right, of difficulty, then the more experienced community is going to get to a high level too fast. So it'll be interesting to see how they sort of try to balance the, like, brand new player experience with still making the game difficult for higher level players. But the Ascension system is a great way to do that.
Yes, I agree.
Do we even know if there's going to be Ascensions at initial beta launch?
Unconfirmed.
Yeah, no idea, but I think that it would be a massive mistake to not do it, because like, if Ascension 0 is as easy as it is currently, then the community is going to get incredibly bored incredibly quickly.
On the subject of experimentation, I'm curious because I haven't been around the Spire community as long as some of y'all have. I was curious, Merle, when you were kind of realized, like, oh, I can, like, see up a bunch of cards on Watcher sort of thing. I'm curious, like, what the social sort of experience was that of, like, where people think, like, oh, like, yeah, that won't work. You're just, like, it's just, like, forcing a gimmick or whatever. Or, like, did you kind of, like, win people over? You know, you just hit those results and, like...
I think, like, because at the time, Max was, like, the record holder. I think he was, like... I don't think he actually had done his streak when I was, like, first doing this stuff. But then he had, like, a 24 Watcher streak, and that was the world record at the time. And I kind of was, like, floating some of this stuff to him. And he had, like, a very different play style. And a lot of people kind of were skeptical, but I think when I got the world record, a lot of people were like, okay, yeah, this is legit. You can play like this. I think it's worth noting that a lot of people said that I, like, forced things, and I never really felt like that was the case. I feel like I just had a certain way that I tended to go, and if things worked out, then they worked out, and that was nice. But it was never forced. It was always just like, you're taking what the run gives you. But I mean, it's one of those things where, like, the results kind of speak for themselves. Like, you can see that it works. And I think, like, that is, to me, the thing is that it was always just the easiest way to go. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, Watcher is difficult because you have to do all this stuff," and it's like, okay, well, why don't we take this character that's very difficult and just sort of like distill her down to the essence, and give people something where they can just sort of like follow a blueprint and it's going to work. And that's like I've gotten so many messages from people that go, "Oh yeah, I just kind of like do what you said to do and I win runs." And it's like, "Yep," because that's how it works.
Yeah, I don't remember so much people questioning you. I just remember, like, even before you got the world record, it just suddenly became a thing that, like, this was OP. And then everyone in Twitch chat would just be like, "Oh yeah, watch your infinite, watch your infinite, watch your infinite."
Yeah, do you feel like you don't get enough flowers, Merle, for being like the because you're sort of
No.
like for the divinity. No, for specifically for divinity.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you're
early on,
sort of divinity guy, I hear.
Early on, it's funny. Like my first few runs on stream were just very different. I was playing like 6 to 8 hour runs, and they were like all divinity runs. And I kind of just went away from that fairly quickly because I realized that it wasn't like quite as consistent as doing the Wrathcom thing. But it's certainly a very fun way to play.
Yeah. I love mantra builds.
You can I don't know about force it, but I mean I think my first like runs on stream I had like a 13 streak and 9 out of the 13 runs were divinity. So I don't know. I've never really tried to kind of expressly go for that style since then. But I assume that you could do it to a decent amount of success. I mean, Watcher is just so strong that you can really do a lot of different things and have like very high levels of success. You could have like probably 5 different, like distinctly different play styles and have them all be like 90+% win rate. But then, 90+% on Watcher is like not even. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not good. Like, it's obviously good, but like that's not what the top players are. If you're getting a 71 streak, like a 90% win rate is not gonna cut it, right? You need much higher than that.
I think a lot of this conversation was sort of on the topic of like experimentation. I kind of wanted to bring things back to Clad, maybe ask Panacea or whoever. I'm curious because I've heard sort of a wisdom of I think now is a great opportunity where like there's like a big payoff for like questioning everything, because I feel like with a lot of these big new strategies in Ironclad that have sort of been developing over like the past I don't know, like 8 months, I do feel like there's strategies that, because we're so good at playing Ironclad now, like we can kind of like push the limits. I feel like a lot of these sort of skippier play styles maybe couldn't have cut it like a couple years ago with sort of the knowledge that we had, but like we're kind of playing like good enough to like, to kind of nail it. So do you think that's sort of played a factor at all, or?
I'll say so Zeknar is definitely the biggest innovator that I have really witnessed when it comes to just trying a lot of different macro strategies and really pushing them to their limits. I've always kind of just made micro adjustments to my strategy because I think just kind of like for example, like I can't really boss swap very well because in my head I assume I have Burning Blood and my whole mental model for the game just like has that as an assumption, which I can't even take away. So I really don't make huge changes to my strategy because it's just all in there in a way that I don't understand. But Zeknar, for example, has tried a lot of strategies. And one thing that always happens, we're friends, but I'll always just be like, he'll be saying some weird new stuff, and I'll be like, hey, but like, don't go too far, Like, I still disagree with you about these changes. But I do think that there's a large part of the community that doesn't do that. And it's just like, let's see what we can do if we also try to do what Zeknar is doing right now. And this most recent strategy, I feel, has really, really impressed me, and I think impressed everyone. It just, how good people are doing with it. So,
yeah.
You want to try to like summarize that for people who might not be aware?
Oh yeah. I mean, as Zeknar himself would say, it's not necessarily forcing anything, but it is a strategy that kind of heavily revolves around the exhaust plan. You have this meme of one attack theory, so you can use second wind to exhaust down your deck, and you will be able to have a payoff with drop kick or blood for blood usually, and but this isn't to say that like you're making yourself weaker in the short term, because you still really are scared of Act 2, and you need to make sure that you have the resources to survive. But like stuff like questioning whether anger needs to go in the deck, I know that's been one of his new takes that has really caught on with a lot of people, is like anger maybe actually isn't that good. It only does 6 damage in Act 2, and then it's an attack later on. I guess he would say it better than me, though.
Yeah, with so many hours, I feel like it'd be really easy to just kind of solidify a lot of your opinions, or like zone out kind of a lot of decisions as kind of like white noise or anything. How do you think you're still able to sort of like, you know, question a lot of these decisions and find out these micro optimizations to make? How do you stay alert to that? Does it come pretty natural?
I guess like if I'm at a card reward screen, I try to think of like what each card might help me do. Like I try to think of them in their best case. And then I guess that just helps me solve problems that might come up in the future. Like if I see a rampage and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe the best case for this is like exhausting down, playing it repeatedly. That helps me, I guess, just plan for the thing that might be solved by that.
All of this has me wondering about like, because we've talked about a lot of people's strategy, but we haven't asked Baylor, like, why do you do what you do, Baylor? Because I sometimes like I get it, and sometimes I just don't get it at all. And like it's always entertaining, but like how do you, I guess, like what's your macro approach? Do you change based on like your mood, or based on like the run?
Oh yeah, I definitely make
what
like
sort of-
mood based and vibe based plays for sure.
Yeah.
How to describe? Yeah, like I often go by sort of a gut feeling or instinct. Sometimes I'm pulled in a particular direction, like, oh, I'm not feeling up to playing 100%, so let's try this new strategy that is being offered to me. Let's take the stupid mayhem and try to play it or whatever. And sometimes I'm more locked in and just like willing and ready to make the correct and perfect plays. Sometimes I'm more like a bit chaos factor, where I want to try something a little unconventional just because I've already kind of mapped out where choice A goes, and I'm not interested in doing it again, so I'll make choice B, and sometimes that doesn't work out. And yeah, I am always also striving to like be entertaining. Ultimately, that is one of the main goals, perhaps more so than actually winning at times, is making sure that I'm putting on a good show and being entertaining to chat. It's crucial, especially as the channel's grown.
Right.
Can you think of any examples where you've made a decision where it's like, oh yeah, I'm totally just doing this for the content or whatever, but then you're like, wait a second, this is kind of hitting. Maybe like, have you ever like learned anything by like playing like that?
Learned is a little bit iffy. I've definitely had meme plays that have worked out. Like recently, I took a prismatic shard on defect, and then I ended up with omniscience because I did that. And omniscience defect was destroying the spire quite effectively. Actually, it was glorious. But obviously, that doesn't always work out with something like the shard.
I have a really good anecdote for something like that. I had at one point, I think I was playing with like Byron, and our goal was to pick like the worst possible pick and see how far we could get.
I like that.
And we ended up like, I think our Niao bonus was like rare colorless for damage or something like that, because it was the worst choice. And we ended up getting, it was like Master Strategy, Hand of Greed, and Magnetism. So we're like, oh, okay, we're going to take Magnetism. And then magnetism single-handedly carried our entire Act 1, despite the fact that we were taking the worst possible pick at every card reward. And we're like, wait a minute, magnetism is actually insane?
That's pretty hype.
And like I actually did use that information in subsequent runs. Like I remember very specifically I had an Ironclad run where I was not killing Hexaghost. And so I was like, okay, well I need to path into this shop so that I can try to kill Hexaghost. And then the only thing in the shop that had any chance to do anything was magnetism. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to take magnetism, upgrade it, see what happens, and ended up like killing Hexaghost very easily because magnetism is the GOAT, apparently.
Brilliant.
So do you take magnetism over skip on floor 0?
Ooh, that is a great question. I mean, I guess it depends on the map and the character and.
Okay, let's
I
say
mean-
Ironclad. What type of maps do you think you want to take it?
I mean, if it's Hexa, maybe I'm taking magnetism. I mean, it's pretty good. Like, it's good in Lagavulin, obviously, right? It was
Right.
pretty,
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty mediocre in hallways. It's decent in cubes, I suppose. It's good if you can get it upgraded. I feel like that's one of the main things with magnetism. Like, with any power that goes from 2 to 1 cost, it's almost always just like a massive upgrade, right? It makes it so much easier to play, especially in Act 1.
Definitely.
So, like, for example, like a Dark Embrace, right? Like, you're much
Right.
more happy to take that early Dark Embrace if you can throw an upgrade into it and you don't have anything. Because Ironclad probably has the worst upgrades of any character, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
overall. So sometimes you are in a position where you're like, okay, well, I actually don't have any good upgrades, and there's a fire coming up, so maybe I'm going to take something that's like only good when it's upgraded because I have the upgrade to throw into it. And I feel like magnetism definitely falls into that category where it's like, okay, well, if you can upgrade it and you can play it for 1 energy, yeah, it's probably going to be pretty decent.
I feel like that card
The
is
gold factor in it all.
recursion for me on defect, where it's like really good if you have an upgrade to sink into it, but it's kind of bad otherwise.
Yeah, it's like almost unplayable unupgraded, and then you upgrade it and you're all of a sudden like, oh my god, I'm cooking.
Yeah, magnetism kind of reminds me of Dark Embrace because they add stuff to your hand, but it's like way better early on.
Right, because you're adding random colorless cards, which are way better than strikes and defense.
Yeah, they're better than common cards on average too. I feel like.
Yeah, quite a bit better. I mean, random like colorless cards, there is a lot of variance, but I think the average colorless card is quite good.
Yes.
And how much would you say the gold factors into the magnetism floor 0, if at all?
I mean, I at least for me recently, I'm like really trying not to gouge my eyes out every time that I play Slay the Spire. So like, I probably wouldn't be doing the magnetism stalling, but I mean, it's certainly a thing that you can think about. Like I had a couple of like Nilry's Codex Watcher runs recently, and like technically speaking, if you have Nilry's Codex, you can wait for Foreign Influence and then wait for Hand of Greed every single fight. But like, who
Yikes.
wants to do
Yeah,
that
who
when
wants
you're
to do
winning
that?
already?
That's something I hope we have
Hopefully-
less of in Spire 2.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, that is. I mean, I think the developers are very aware. The whole like stalling thing really gained a lot of notoriety after they said we're done, you know, developing the game basically. But I think they're very aware of what is possible in terms of stalling and like what people have done, and the whole
Exclamation
like
mark plan.
Right. Yeah. What's the plan today? Is it Discovery? Is it Magnetism? Is it Nilry's Codex? Is it Alchemize? And you know, are we spending like 30 minutes in every fight to get perfect potions or whatever it is?
Fun fact, the first Spire stream that I ever tuned into, just randomly, whoever was top of the category at the time, I walked in the middle of a mag stall that lasted like 15-20 minutes, and relatively new player me is just staring at the screen like, oh god, is this what you have to do to beat Ascension 20?
Oh my god.
Oh,
This
no.
is every Ascension 20 run.
Yep. It was not, in fact, every Ascension 20 run, but yeah.
One thing that I was curious about, Baylor, is there something about your playstyle that you think makes you more able to click early Dark Embraces in Act 1? Is it possibly correlated with your higher cleave pick rate at all? or
Higher
anything
cleave
else?
pick rate?
I think yours is higher than other top players, right? Am I correct?
Probably. I'm kind of waning on the cleave these days. It is cleave does like help you deal with those front-loaded Act 1 and Act 2 fights where having the Dark Embrace can really hurt you, but I don't know if I would say that there's like a necessarily a cause and effect there, directly speaking. I do like things like Infernal Blade more than perhaps other people, which can help. pick
Infernal Blade
something
has
like-
crazy high rolls.
Yeah, it can really bail you out in a
Yeah,
delightful
I've definitely
way.
had Act 1s where I like needed to take an Infernal Blade, and then it just carried me the entire time because I'm getting like random bludgeons and uppercuts off of it.
And then it's also a card that can be second winded later on.
Yep.
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 Yep. Well, that's- it's
upgrades
kind
to
of the
zero
same way that I
cost,
feel
which
about-
is very sweet as well.
Yep. I feel the same way about like Foreign Influence on Watcher, right? Where it's like a curated attack, and then later on you can just skip the card and exhaust it for free, which is quite nice.
I'll use this as a chance just to remind everyone, we got more Merlefon coming up soon.
That's right. 30 minutes until
Then,
defect begins.
Kroven, Japanese Export, and Nikki are going to be fighting to the death, and me and Baylor Lord, we're gonna kick it, and we're gonna leave Knave Greed and VM Service as your analyzers.
The
and commentators.
chat will be in good hands with those two commentators. I'm going to be sitting back with a sandwich and watching the defect run. Cannot wait.
I'm looking forward to watching the Ironclad run on,
Oh man,
because I haven't
Yeah.
seen what other people happened or what
Yeah,
you guys were all saying.
Yeah, you gotta witness the double bash gloriousness for yourself.
Indeed.
I saw you looking at your run history there for a while. I was curious if you saw if there are any card choices that sort of come to mind right now that you sort of wanted to talk about, or sort of like things that you were torn on during that last run.
Oh
Kinda
yeah.
see-
I haven't really done my review yet, but let's see. Can you see what I'm hovering here?
We can put
Yes.
the stream back to
Yep,
Panavision
yep.
here. Panavision. There we go. We got
I'm
you.
trying to remember. Did you guys notice any like weird things? I guess this clothesline, because I removed 2 strikes and I wasn't that excited about having armaments on floor 1 because it was a block card, you know.
I think I'm pretty sure JMac took Arma. And
He did, yeah.
and I think Terrence took the clothesline. I
And then how
know
many
that when
people went to
Zeknar
the
played this
shop?
run, Zeknar transformed. He did not take remove 2.
I think everyone shot.
I think the remove 2 start really worked out on this run.
It did. JMac didn't shop, I believe.
Someone transformed one from Meow, right?
That was Terrence.
Yep. Parents got anger.
Yep, I think
I
the
like
biggest.
Flash of Steel is kind of nice with the remove 2.
Huge.
Yeah, I think the biggest divergence was that like early shop, because JMac didn't do it, and then JMac's run was actually like probably stronger for almost the entirety of Act 1 until Hexaghost, and then he just didn't have a quality answer for Hexaghost, and then he was also very strong throughout the entirety of Act 2, and then he got to Automaton. He just did not have a quality answer for Automaton.
Did anyone else go for a Biotropic brew? I
Yeah,
guess
Terrence.
probably not. Oh, Terrence did?
Yep.
I felt so good when I did that. But I guess it's up against Offering.
Yeah, smart. That was I think that was second offering, right?
Yeah, second Offering. I already had one.
And Tropic, I guess it's more like insurance for Act 2 sort of thing, because maybe you were thinking about like a bricked boss relic type beat.
Yeah, exactly. Just felt like so much HP to work with for Act 2. And if I need it if I'm dying to Ghost for some reason.
Yeah, it's really good stored value, that Entropic Brew.
do you have any interesting philosophies on when to dig or when to upgrade? And were there any interesting points that kind of stumped you in this run?
Yeah, that's a
With that
good
map?
question. I was pretty much thinking very strongly about digging throughout the entire run and whether it was worth it or not. So here, I feel pretty happy with my choice to rest over dig, because I need to fight 2 more elites, and often the relic doesn't save me that much health in the fights. And then here I chose dig, and these were kind of in a row, and I knew I was going to be upgrading offering, because I have like the Arma Plus from... Oh, from here I got Arma Plus. So that made Offering Plus appealing, because I draw the Arma with Big Hand, and then I play Arma Plus on everything. And then after this, I never smith again. So it's only digging versus resting. But then I get the Dreamcatcher, right? From here. And so now 22 HP and a card reward is like very comparable to just getting a random relic, if you can use the HP. Right, so I still dig here. I think this might be wrong, actually. I think I probably should have just rested.
Is there a particular encounter you were wanting to rest in anticipation for?
Forgotten Altar, obviously.
Yeah.
I end up resting and then Forgotten Altar and then resting again. Yeah, maybe that's fine. I guess since I am going to all these fires with a shovel on me, like...
Yeah, you
digging here
rested a
isn't so
lot on this
bad.
run.
Yeah, with the Dreamcatcher, I think resting is just kind of OP.
Definitely a relic that I think it gets, pardon the pun, slept on a bit. Seems underwhelming, just like 1 card reward for doing something you don't really want to do. But it is good at times. Really good.
I mean, when your run is in trouble, you probably need to rest, and you probably need cards, right? Like,
Yeah.
so in that scenario, you could say Dreamcatcher is actually one of the best relics, because you're basically using it more when you actually need it. Now, maybe your run is in trouble because you have Dreamcatcher and
True.
you don't have Incense
Right.
Burner.
No, I think Dreamcatcher does kind of get more credit than it deserves, because even if you're resting every single fire, you know, if you didn't have the Dreamcatcher, you'd probably be smithing a lot of those. And, like, the marginal difference is coming at the cost of a whole relic up front.
Did you what's your sort of philosophy on opening chests with Curse Key throughout this run? Were there any interesting choices?
Yeah,
there?
so definitely, like, we were remove 2 Niao, like, we have Rampage, we have Flash of Steel, Second Wind, Offering. So curses and making my deck bigger and slowing that down just seemed quite bad. So when I took the Curse Key, I'm like, almost every time I'm just skipping this chest. And I still think that that's a completely fine and good boss relic if, like, the downside is I skip this chest here. And then, of course, I'm forced to take it here, but I saw that there was a way I could go to a shop. Luckily, it was just injury for mine.
Yeah,
to
you
get
definitely got
Sapphire
the
Key.
best curse. JMac got Writhe, and it was not fun, and Terrence got Normality, so...
Yeah, and I also did they also skip this treasure, or?
No, I think JMac...
JMac
Yeah,
took
I think
it.
Oh
they
yeah,
both
because they didn't.
They
took
yeah,
it.
right. Well, I think for my run, it made a lot of sense to skip the treasure. It was also, I think, a small chest.
Yep.
Aw.
And then this was just funny, 4 elites in a row. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, that's good value.
Not often that you see that, for sure.
How were your nerves throughout the whole run? And then what was sort of like the point where like the weight sort of lifted and you're like, "Yep, I'm totally home free." Do you remember that?
My nerves were very high at the beginning, especially like while waiting to get ready for the run. I'm just like, okay, this is like kind of a thing. I'm stressed. And then, like I said, I think I mentioned before, when I bought this Entropic Brew, I thought, okay, I have breathing room now. I have a lot of health. I'm almost certainly not going to die to Hexaghost because I have Evolve, Second Wind, and Rampage. I already had all of those at that point. So Hexaghost, probably not going to kill me, especially with an Atropic Brew. And then going into Act 2, I'll have a lot of potions. But the Act 2 boss was definitely not free. And I do think that the Rampage was like a big thing for getting me through there. I definitely rested here up to 79, just still very concerned. And then I think I started feeding in Act 3, and it became pretty clear that my deck was just really good. And Act 3, I think like basically I thought I was in a good position. I mean, I pretty much all of Act 3 and Act 4, I didn't really feel too stressed. I was still having nerves, but I felt that if I was able to just perform at like a reasonably good level, I don't need to stall for a feed, I don't need to be a genius, I just need to like execute, noob level Spire, and I'll probably win. And so that kind of helped me just do my thing, and then nothing bad happened.
All right.
Awesome.
We are getting to the point where it's probably time to bring the defect commentators in. But thank you so much to Abzy and Baylor and Panacea for having this little extended time-killing discussion, and for coming on and commentating and competing. It was
You're
a
welcome.
great segment. I think a really good segment to kick things off. I couldn't have really gone better, in my opinion. I feel like the level of the seed was kind of exactly what I wanted, and the level of play was very high, and the commentators were great. So yeah, thanks to you all.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's
Thanks,
fun
everyone.
to dip my toe into commentary. I've been Abzy32. See you guys.
Doodles.
GG's.
Our defect
everyone.
commentators are not around quite yet, but maybe a good opportunity to take a short break before the defect run.
Yes. I'm gonna go grab a nom, and Asuki, can you just let them know that we are ready for them whenever.
Cool.
Cool.
Don't touch
All right.
that time.
All right. I'm going to raid Myrtle's channel then from mine.
Yeah, thank you so much, Baylor, for hopping on and participating, and we are looking forward to doing more fun things as Slay the Spire 2 comes out as well.
Heck yeah. Can't wait.